I look at Preston and I look at Bill. The greater, the wider part of that sideways V would go to Preston. Preston is greater than Bill.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
The theme of this show. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
107.5 The Game.
It is here. It is here. It's game week.
You can feel it.
I know,
You
Preston.
can feel it.
We got a lot going on in the
Right.
Yeah, we got a lot going on in the studio.
Just like a game week, sir. Everybody's been real calm all week, but now it's game week, and there's a frantic energy in the room.
There
It
is.
feels great.
I'm being directed like I've never been directed before at
Yes.
6 a.m.
Yes.
to the point that I'm a little freaked out.
You wonder if the players are going to be nervous on Saturday? They will be. Trust me. I guarantee you they will be.
What a morning. Wake up with us. Enjoy it. We're going to talk a lot of football this morning. Jamie Bradford will join us. But first off, we got to welcome all our new friends. Welcome in 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. If you're listening this morning in Florence or in Myrtle Beach, welcome into the early game. Can't believe I have to do this, but I have to reintroduce us. And yes, I'll have to reintroduce Gamecock Larry as well, as he is already on the phone line, and we've just flat out added him to the log of things we get to in the first segment. But welcome in Florence, welcome in Myrtle Beach officially. I mentioned this on Friday. You can hear us now, obviously, here in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. But now, if you go down I-20, good news. You won't lose us. You can hear us on 100.5 The Game in Florence. And again, you keep on going down I-20. You head into, Dillon. Take a right down there, just going into Myrtle Beach.
Keep rolling.
And you can hear us on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. So welcome in to our new listeners as we start game week. Let me tell you how you can get in touch with us if you hear something that you like and you want to praise us, or if you hear something you completely disagree with and you want to let us know about it. Phone number to do so, 803-404-6100. You can hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, 803-404-6100. That's how you can get in touch with us as we come off a weekend that was. The college football season is officially underway. We started college football season where it should always be started. Dublin, Ireland, of course, Preston Thorne, the home of college football or something. So we started over there with Notre Dame and Navy. We actually really got going on Friday. How did you think we finished up there? Putts with Preston. Some good donations to Camp Cole, our 107.5 The Game golf tournament taking place out at Charwood. Big thank you again to Rock and Daniel Lucas for hosting us on Friday afternoon. A fun round. Myself, Rock, Chase, Saki. We shot 16 under and didn't get a trophy.
Is that good or bad?
It's good. It's good.
So it means the competition was stiff out there?
We have raised the level of competition for the 107.5 The Game for the golf tournament.
Okay. Man, it was great time. We had putts with Preston. I found my line, as I was told that was called. Found my line, and I was able to hit sink a couple of putts from pretty deep. So I was pretty proud of myself.
We will be bringing the game golf tournament to Florence in the near future. Well, I say the near future. I'd say give us 12 months. But we'll be bringing the game golf tournament to Florence. We'll be bringing it to Myrtle Beach. I'm already looking at those Myrtle Beach courses, just excited to go down there. But yeah, we'll be coming down there and we'll be bringing these golf tournaments. We're just going to make it statewide, just one big the game tournament schedule. Basically, you can just sign up for all of them and just travel around and play with us. But a lot of fun. Again, big thank you to Charwood. We had an absolute blast on Friday, and again, Rock and Daniel Lucas out there here in Columbia putting on an absolutely fantastic event. Big thank you to our sales team. Big thank you to our management. Again, it was an absolute blast being out there. We had putts with Preston where $5 donations were made to Camp Cole. Some people beat you and got a pair of tickets to the South Carolina Jacksonville State game.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, did you learn, like I did, who Jacksonville State's head coach was this weekend?
I did not.
It's a familiar name. I was unaware of this.
I'm sure it's some NCAA, some lifer.
He is a lifer and a liar.
Well, that doesn't limit the pool very much. Bobby Petrino's already working at Texas A&M, so
a little bit less shady than Bobby Petrino.
Okay, all right. I don't know. Lay it on me.
Rich Rodriguez.
Oh, my guy. The Michigan man himself.
Rich Rodriguez. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was.
Is he still running that innovative spread offense?
He is. They won.
Mm-hmm.
They won. It was quite interesting. I actually was sitting there on Saturday afternoon, and he is leading Jacksonville State as they have now jumped into FBS and rolling along and pick up their first victory of the season, I guess I should say. So many different firsts there for them on Saturday afternoon, but they go out and they get a victory, and we'll cover what we saw from the weekend, the good, the bad, and truly the ugly, I believe.
There was a lot of it to go around. Probably more so weighted on the backside of that bad and ugly side.
Yeah.
Not much good, but we'll be there.
We'll discuss a little bit about the ponchos the New Mexico State wore. We'll put our fashion hats on this morning if you haven't seen that.
This is if you're just being introduced to me, this is what I was here to do.
Yes.
I'm here to comment on the fashion.
We've got a lot to get to this morning. Carolina Titan on our live stream. You can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and check out. We have a live stream here. Preston at some point will find his way onto the live stream. We're not sure when. We've been saying that for 8 months, and it's yet to happen. Maybe month 9 is the lucky charm. They do say it takes 9 times to get something right, but we'll see if we can get him on there. But you can go to our live stream, go to youtube.com, search 1075thegame.com. Click, join, subscribe, be a part there. Carolina Titan says it feels like the first day back to school.
See?
Travis going with a good morning. Carlton, tough weekend for the Bulldogs in South Carolina State.
Yeah, rough one for sure. They got to hand it to them. And if I know anything about that crew, they were told a few choice words. So
they got some pleasantries at halftime and after the game.
Godspeed to everybody involved for sure. Buddy P will be in rare form.
One interesting thing from that game, again, we'll get more into this. I don't know how you take away from that game Jason Brown. And if you're going like, that name sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before? Well, you've heard it at the University of South Carolina, where Jason Brown, quarterback to the Gamecocks in 2021, was a big part of getting the Gamecocks to a bowl game against North Carolina in Charlotte. Jason Brown over the weekend for Jackson State, 26 of 33, 361 yards and 3 touchdowns. You hate to see South Carolina State go down like that, but there had to be a little bit of a comforting feeling going, hey, good, a former Gamecock who's put in a lot of time. I believe he's in his 12th year of college. Kudos to him for going out and performing in that manner.
Also, Rico Powers is out there.
Forgot about that. Yes,
Rico Powers. So there was 2 Gamecock connections in that specific game. So there was a lot of interest in that one.
Well, we'll get to all that and more this morning again as we welcome you in, Florence and Myrtle Beach. Glad to have you as a part of the program this morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, if you want to be a part, 803-404-6100. You can send a text message on the Firehouse Subs text line, or you can even give us a call. And as we do in the first segment, Gamecock Larry likes to lead things off. If you've never heard from Gamecock Larry and you're wondering who exactly is that, don't worry, you're going to find out in just a second. Out to the phone lines we go, and welcome in, young man. I know you're as excited as everybody else this week for the start of game week.
Oh, I tell you what, old Rich still alive. I was still a fibbing and a playing, the coaching. Boy, I tell you, it's been a long time since old Rich been up here. But and you new listeners, let me tell you, if there's any heel fans down there, call in the radio station and give me something to talk about. I need a little bit of fodder, as we used to call it in the old times. These people up here, they must all be Gamecocks, because I can't get nobody to call me and say anything. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you right now. Let old Gamecock Larry think now. I've been saying the Rattler gonna strike. He gonna get about 380 yards in the air, 380 and 200 on the ground. That's 580
Wait, did you say
yards.
280?
You don't. Yes, sir. The game. 380. He gonna get 380 in the air. And about 4 touchdowns. Now we gonna he gonna strike off. Old Mackie is up there in Tar Heel country. Both of them won the national championship. Both of them got fired. So that means both of them lost a little bit. But old Gamecock Larry is trying to get me talk, give me some fodder. I want to tell you, 44-31 Gamecocks, and then we're going to go on, and after 3 games, after the first 3 games, we're going to be 3-0. Here we come, dogs. Go Gamecocks. Love all y'all. Go Gamecocks.
There you go. Gamecock Larry ready to go this one. 44-31. No faith in the defense.
Well, Gamecock Larry's been holding steady because of his call last week. He's predicted the score of 44-31. However, there's been movement on the Spencer Rattler statistics.
There's been movement.
There's been movement. Last week, we thought it was going to be 320 passing. Now we're up to 380. So I don't know what Gamecock Larry knows or what we don't know. What's been moving? Gamecock Larry, is there something you read in the scouting report that accounted for those 60 yards?
We don't know.
Okay, we're gonna have to call back tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll find out.
Tomorrow.
Something changed. I don't know whether he read a scouting report. I don't know whether he got some inside information. But there's 60 yards that have been added to the previous statistics.
The big secret is Alshon Jeffrey's coming back.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's really what it is. Hey, 803-404-6100 this morning. Again, that's how you can weigh in. Love Chevy phone lines, or you can hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line. Again, we'll get into the weekend that was coming up. A nice little weekend. Notre Dame with a big victory. We'll talk about Southern Cal a little bit. Their 56-28 win. Caleb Williams gets off to a good start. Marshawn Lloyd, maybe. I'm not sure. Get your take on Clark Lee and Vanderbilt. Lot going on. And apparently we're still banning teams from bowl games. We'll get into that a little bit. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen. You're listening to The Early Game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia.
Okay, we do have a live. It's gonna be absolute glass, but it's not gonna be right this second. It's gonna be after the USC spot. I'll give you a heads up on that.
Introducing Herndon Certified. Herndon Certified used vehicles are quality assured and come with our 60-day warranty, complete with nationwide coverage. Don't just buy a used car. Buy a Herndon Certified used car and drive with confidence, knowing Herndon's got you covered. Find your perfect pre-owned in-store or online at herndonchevy.com.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
Welcome back to Carolina Power Equipment and our special guest, Kai Kroger, punter extraordinaire for the University of South Carolina.
Yep, it's Kubota country right here at Carolina Power Equipment.
That's Kubota, Kai.
Oh, right. That's what I said.
Tell everyone why you love these Kubota zero turns.
They're like our best running backs. They can cut through anything, and they're built like our biggest linebacker, tough as nails. Plus, they can stop and turn on a dime, just like my sweet kicks.
Don't forget about all the Kubota tractors. This place is a Kubota superstore.
I love these Kubota tractors. They keep winning awards for being the best in the business.
It's like the Ray Guy Award for Best Punter, where you were clearly robbed.
Moving on, if you're a landowner, these Kubota tractors simply outkick the competition.
Kubota? Nice try, buddy.
Tried a little fake there. I'm kind of known for that.
Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in the heart of Casey. Or visit carolinapowerequipment.com.
Kubota, it's the only orange I'll ever love.
The recent spike in interest rates has many homeowners staying put. If you have a 4% or less mortgage rate, staying in your home long-term makes great sense. Ramjack Foundation Repair wants to remind you that when it comes to maintaining the value of your home, your foundation comes first. Foundation damage can be a serious problem in our area. If you have or suspect foundation damage, the time to call Ramjack is now. Don't allow foundation settlement to jeopardize the value of your largest investment. When it comes time to prioritize home improvement projects, your foundation comes first, and who you choose is critical. Ramjack has spent over 40 years specializing in the science of foundation repair. We aren't roofers or part-time contractors. We are foundation repair specialists trained to identify foundation settlement and offer permanent, affordable solutions. Choose the professionals. Choose Ramjack. Free evaluations, free second opinions. Call 735-3085 or visit ramjack.com on the web. That's ramjack.com.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Hi, I'm Austin Cindric, driver number 2, America's Tire Ford Mustang. Did you know that one of the most important keys to success on the track and for safe driving on the road is having the right tire pressure?
Preston, in about 10 seconds. Are you ready to go? Okay.
Your tire pressure at least once a month or stop by your local tire retailer for an air check.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Preston here for Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. Listen, we had a bunch of damage, bunch of big storms over the past weekend, and you may have been needed to get taken care of. Absolute Glass is the company that can take care of it for you. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say
30.
If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. That's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
Victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join the V Foundation team. 100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now at V.org.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there are as few as 3,200. The Earth's wild animals can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
All right, so that's the music. Don't worry about.
The early game
with Phil Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 1075 The Game. Also heard on 100.5
The next bumper you hear is where you guys will come back in.
The Game in Florence.
Off and running on a Monday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is officially game week. Get yourself up this morning. Put on your garnet and black. Go to the office. Find a Tar Heel or a Clemson Tiger and taunt them. Remind them that the last time South Carolina played North Carolina or the last time South Carolina played Clemson, they were the losers. And kind of just make sure you rub that in your face because you don't know what's going to happen this year.
That is correct. That is correct. Take advantage now while you still have the upper hand. That's everybody.
That's right. That's a good point.
Most of us are still undefeated. Most.
If you see a Tennessee fan out there, if you see a Texas A&M Aggie, remind them about last season because starting on Saturday, all those bragging rights go away. You have a whole new season. This past Saturday, South Carolina was practicing, so they weren't playing. Other teams playing in Preston. How much did you take in? What did you take away?
Very little bit taken in. I watched the South Carolina State game, so that kind of got away from them a little bit. As far as the earlier games, just saw some highlights. So not enough to have a big, serious breakdown analysis because I kind of like waiting until my team plays.
Okay.
That's kind of my deal. I like waiting until my guys play. And if you don't know, if you're just out there listening, I am a South Carolina homer, so get used to it. That's just what it's going to be.
So you didn't stick around for Ohio and San Diego State on CBS Sports Network Saturday afternoon, and I caught the great CBS theme music, something like that.
If I would have known it was there, I would have stayed for that, but I didn't know that was coming.
That was worth tuning in. Just Ohio, San Diego State. San Diego State wins 20-13. I know you probably care, but the listening to the intro music was worth it, and still a disappointment that will not be. It still will be for one more year, but that starting in 2024, we will phase out the SEC on CBS.
2 questions. 1, did you download Fubo to watch the Pac-12?
I did not.
Okay.
I did see people talking about that. I just decided to stay because of my Saturday and what was going on and how everything was kind of evolving and grilling steaks and everything. I got more involved in the South Carolina State Jackson State game, and then because of the weather delay, by the time we sat down, I wanted to see what Vanderbilt looked like and interested. I mean, I have really zero reason to do a whole lot of research on Hawaii, so it was kind of one of those things where, hey, and the head coach of Hawaii is Timmy Chang, and I was
I'm glad you stole it.
How about
because
that?
I was just gonna say Timmy Chang and them boys. That's about the amount of analysis I got for you. Timmy Chang and them boys.
Hey, I remember that guy. Then, of course, I'm trying. Then my son's like, well, what did he do? And, of course, now I'm trying to, go through the mental Rolodex of, when did he play quarterback? I remember him, but when did he play quarterback?
You got to be well, Timmy Chang, he was the quarterback. He used to sling it around the field whenever you was late and you needed some extra gambling to get. Could Hawaii take the over?
Yeah.
You would just depend on Timmy Chang and them boys.
Colt. Then it came to me. I was like, oh, yeah, Colt Brennan was the one that led Hawaii to the blowout loss to Georgia in the Sugar Bowl that year when Hawaii was supposed to be so good. But yeah, that was one thing from that game that I'm going to keep an eye on now moving forward. We'll do I can't remember if we're going to do Transfer Portal Tuesday on a Monday, just because we do have a couple players to get to. But one guy that I'm going to keep an eye on for Vanderbilt, and I think this is going to be one of those kind of like Jalen Hyatt situations where oh, how did you let him get out of state? Jaden McGowan for Vanderbilt had the kickoff return 97 yards from Lawrence, I believe Lawrence High School, and then led Vanderbilt in receiving 6 receptions, 72 yards. I remember his recruitment. They believed he was on the smaller side. He's 5'8". He's a smaller guy. I mean, but he's a speedster, and he's 5'8", about 180, and he's a player that for Vanderbilt, it's going to be fun to watch his progress. He is listed as just a sophomore. Doesn't have that COVID year. So I know he actually is legitimately a sophomore and not playing around with those years. But a nice game for him on Saturday. And a big reason why Vanderbilt holds on and wins that game, they had to have an interception late to beat Hawaii.
Yeah, which was, I don't know, is shocking because, again, I don't have a deep dive analysis on the Hawaii Warriors. Is that who we're going with? Are they the Warriors? Okay. In-state recruiters are so interesting because you don't know what all the machinations was of why or why not. And obviously, he's a little bit undersized. But then when you throw the Vanderbilt wild card in there, I don't know if he was a quote-unquote Vanderbilt guy, and that might have been a school that was up on his chart of places he wanted to go. I'm not very familiar with that recruiting process. So, but yes, as an in-state person, it is always interesting to see somebody from in-state succeed in other words. So wish him the most success and hopefully he does well.
That was interesting to see this weekend. Vanderbilt holds on. I'll say they had a lightning delay. They had storms. The game didn't get started. But everything that you would expect to be a high-level high school game with the crowd, that's what you got on Saturday.
I don't. Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Vanderbilt having the hanging Jumbotron.
That's what I'm saying. The whole thing was, I mean, it was quite the show. First time in my life, I was like, I'm pretty glad South Carolina doesn't go up to Nashville for me to make that trip this year. I'm glad Vanderbilt's coming here so they can get all that straightened out because Nashville itself, but Vanderbilt, that game, one of my favorite road trips to take.
Also, the camera panned by the Vanderbilt student section. They were studying. They were somewhere in the library already. Having zero interest in the football game because they were not there.
True story. Went up there in 05, I think. The last Holtz game, or was that maybe 04? The last Holtz game. Jamacia Jackson had the interception, broke out the black helmets.
Yep.
Jamesia had, I think Jake, was that a Jay Cutler game? Did you face Jay Cutler?
Feels like it's a possibility. Yeah,
Okay.
I think Jay was there.
Jay was there. Was an early game.
It was very early.
It was the first time I ever learned about, Vanderbilt's in the, I was like 22, 23. I was like, there's a different time zone. We have different time zones in this country. It's a noon kickoff back in Columbia, but 11 a.m. So I've got to get up at like 6 to start tailgating. How am I going to handle Friday night? But on Friday, we get up there. I'd never been to Nashville. As Buddy and I were wandering through campus, and these couple people were in front of us, and we were like, hey, where's the football stadium? And they kind of turned around. They're like, why? We were like, we want to check it out. Like, we want to check out the campus. They're like, sure, it's that way. And one person turned and goes, is there like a football game this weekend? I was like, oh, boy. That's what you guys are? Got it. Way to live up to everything I've ever thought about Vanderbilt. But you had that going on this weekend. A couple other games. Again, it was what it was, 56-28. Southern Cal, it was a little bit closer than it should have been for a little while in that ball game between the Trojans and San Jose State. Marshawn Lloyd, I mentioned it, leads the team in carries, Preston, but Austin Jones ends up with more yards. 6 carries, 54 yards for Austin Jones and 2 touchdowns. Marshawn Lloyd, 9 carries, 42 yards, no touchdowns.
Also, I'm not sure whether this matters or not, but Marshawn Lloyd was wearing number 0, and my other guy, what's his name?
Austin Jones.
Austin Jones was wearing number 1. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying nothing. I don't know anything, but I do know he wore number 1 here, and he's not wearing number 1 there. I don't know if he wanted to change his number or if the pecking order was enforced. It's all things I'm interested in.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to do so. We'll talk some Carolina football when we come back. Preston, we gotta get Preston's feelings as a player. When Monday rolled around, because today they're getting up, they're truly getting back into class. You had those kind of first, go to your class, meet your professor. Okay, you guys get out of class Thursday and Friday. Today is the day I would say that class officially starts.
Correct.
Like you officially start doing your learning today.
Correct.
Get in there and do some learning, kids. But you got that starting today. But for football players, you're like, all right, it's game week. Everything that we've been warming up for. I want the difference between freshman Preston and what it was like, and senior Preston was like, it's game week, guys. Freshman Preston was like, yeah, game week here, mate. Senior Preston was probably like, yeah, got a game.
Who we got
a game, boys.
Yeah. Who?
I believe senior Preston, that was again that Vanderbilt
game.
It
it sure was.
Yeah, we got to go up to Vanderbilt. 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. I'm also going to ask you, what is your most memorable opener you've ever been to? We got a couple. You got the Hurricane game in 99 against NC State. Maybe you got the losing streak against New Mexico State in 2000. You didn't get hit with a goalpost, did you?
I did not.
All right. Yeah, we'll get into that. 803-404-6100. What was your most memorable season opener? Doesn't have to be home opener. Season opener that you either went to or experienced. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Sponsored by Bet Online.
BetOnline.net is your #1 information source for all your sports wagering info this football season. With all the up-to-the-minute stats, news, scores, and matchups. Get the latest game odds from college football to pro football. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
This Labor Day, discover the art of relaxation on a new pontoon boat from Mid-Carolina Marine. Mid-Carolina Marine is moving out our remaining stock of Berkshire pontoons with the lowest prices of the year. Now's your chance to get the boat of your dreams at an unbeatable price. Payments start as low as $325 per month. Owning your own pontoon boat has never been easier. Berkshire pontoons are quality from bow to stern. Berkshire's the only pontoon that comes standard with a composite deck and versatile enough for the whole family to enjoy tubing, skiing, and long sunset cruises with the stylish comfort you'd expect from a Berkshire pontoon. Unplug and get the family on the water and make memories that'll last a lifetime. Prices start in the low 40s, and our financing options make buying easy and affordable. The Mid-Carolina Marine Labor Day Pontoon Blowout, going on now. 718 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia, or visit midcarolinamarine.com. That's midcarolinamarine.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits, like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
If you're looking for the latest athletic shoe styles from famous name brands, go straight to Todd & More, your hometown sports store on 620 Hugie Street. Always the best prices and selections for everyone. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday, just below the Coliseum near Blossom.
Whew, if you were outside this weekend, why? I was outside at a soccer tournament, and that wasn't the smartest thing I've done. But you know what? Went home. Air conditioner worked absolutely fantastic. All thanks to AAA Heating and Air. They came out in February, put in a brand new heating and air unit, and it worked fantastic. Right now, you can take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act. Call AAA Heating and Air and get you a new air conditioner. You can save up to $3,800 in tax credits by calling AAA Heating and Air today. 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. That's how you can get in touch with them. AAA Heating and Air will also offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. They've got a 15-year parts and labor warranty, and on top of all that, they guarantee financing. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. You want to tell them you heard it right here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner.
.org. Hi, I'm Carson Kressley. Of all the resources in the world, kindness is the most precious. For more than 140 years, American Humane has been working to protect animals in disasters, on farms, on the silver screen, and in zoos and aquariums caring for the world's vanishing creatures. You can help too by making humane choices every day. Visit AmericanHumane.org for simple ways to build a more caring and compassionate world for all of us.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If we continue to consume our natural resources at the rate we do now, by 2050, it could take 3 Earths to meet our needs. The Earth can't speak up when it needs help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.634 on your Monday morning, game week. Get yourself up, throw on some clothes, get to the office, try and focus on what you're doing. Because what do you think as a fan, Preston? Do you think the fans are already like fully involved, fully, ready to go, just chomping at the bit? A little bit of college football this past weekend. Maybe you've experienced some high school football around the state. Or is it about Wednesday? You're like, oh, yeah, it's coming now.
No, the difference between being a fan and a player is that you get excited on Monday as both fans and players. But then as a fan, you got to relive the rest of your normal life.
Right.
And so you kind of forget about what's happening until Thursday-ish. And then you start getting back into what is going to be happening over the weekend. So, yeah, everybody's excited today. Fans, go live the rest of your normal life. Players, now you're going to have to really start preparing.
It is the season opener. It's game week. I'm asking you, 803-404-6100 is how you can text in this morning, or you can give us a call on the Love Chevy phone lines. What is your most memorable opener? Anonymous texter weighs in. The 2009 opener in Raleigh, I believe he says won 6-3. I think it was 7-3, if I remember correctly. Stephon Gilmore batted down a pass in the end zone. And the texter says memorable for being one of the worst football games I've ever seen.
7-3 sounds terrible.
Yeah, if you remember that game.
I don't remember it at all, but that sounds really bad.
It was, my daughter was, her birthday is September 10th. And so she was born on a Thursday before the following game, which was the Georgia game. But my then wife would not let me travel to Raleigh for fear that I would be there and she would go into labor. So we gathered and watched it. I was kind of thankful because that was a ugly game in Raleigh, but it marked again. Stephon Gilmore had a huge pass that he batted down in the end zone late in the game. I think that was the start of the streak for Torrey Gurley, where he would catch touchdown passes only to have a penalty called and have him called back. I want to say he went on a streak of like 5 straight games where he managed to catch a touchdown.
Story about that.
Huh?
I'm gonna ask Tori about that.
Yeah. What do you remember about being a freshman in the leading into? I guess you didn't play against New Mexico State, which broke the 21 game. I was there. That was my freshman year at South Carolina, both of our freshman year. I was in the student section. I remember not storming the field, but being kind of at the top of the student section as the goalpost went out through the visitor locker room and then got dragged across a car. You just heard that sound.
Wonderful
time. And what do you remember about that as a redshirt freshman when you weren't going to play? Was it just like, I'm not going to?
I was so nervous. I had literally zero chance of playing. I was not going to play. But how do I put this uniform on? I've worn uniforms like this before. I've done all of this before, but I've never done it in front of 80,000 people. And so the energy that was in the building that time, us feeling like having a good idea of knowing, even though we were 1-21 at that point, having a feeling like we're going to get a W here, just the amount of energy that was in the place. That's what I remember most about that game. But yeah, the nerves were not for me getting ready to play because there was no chance of me playing.
So then the following season, 2001, I do not remember who the season opener was against.
Maybe Boise State?
I'll look it up. I'll
feel
get
like
on that.
I might be on point with that one.
Because we'll look that up here and tell you. Was it you going Boise State?
I'm going with Boise State. But from that game, if it was against Boise State, if I remember correctly, that was the real start of my career. And
you are dead on. Good
there
sir.
We go, Boise
State 32-13.
Let me tell you how nervous I was that game because I knew I was going to be playing that game. And when you're a backup and you know you're going to be getting reps or whatever the case is, you know that you're going to be playing. You just don't know when you're going to be playing. And so you're just kind of sitting there and it's just like, Thorn! And you're like, and everything gets really, really tight. And then you run onto the field and you like try to act like you played football before, but you've never played this level of football in your life before. So again, tremendous amount of just nerves, the ball of nerves, everybody, especially if this is your first time going out there playing.
Like you'll be happy to know, apparently the Gamecocks Online site does not allow me to tap and look at the stats from that game. Do you?
Oh, I'm pretty sure there was a zero.
A zero.
Put up the Cheerio that game.
So as a player, what is this morning like? Monday, like you've done whatever you've done this weekend. You've practiced. I guess you've kind of that maybe preseason camp technically ended last Tuesday or Wednesday before class, and you transition to regular practices when you've got to deal with class schedules. Maybe that's the end. But what is it like as a player waking up today knowing, all right, we're no longer hitting each other coming up on Saturday. We get to hit someone else.
Yeah, this is when you start to feel like, man, this is why I made this decision. This is why I'm here. Coaches are starting to talk about the other team. Again, there's a lot of folks that are figuring out where they were on the depth charts during the season. Somebody's going to have to go to the scout team. Somebody's going to have to be on the first or second team. And so everything's starting to shake itself out and starting to figure out where people are as far as the season is concerned. So you're excited. It is very exciting to now actually be talking about a specific component instead of some nameless, faceless, nebulous, those guys are not going to go for that. Who, coach? We don't know. Now we actually have a number. We have a game plan. This is what you wait for.
We did get a question in on Tez Walker, the wide receiver transfer for North Carolina, player that actually Shane Beamer did the most politically correct thing ever last week, right? When he basically vouched for Tez Walker playing, because he knows his voice has zero meaning in this. But number one, it makes him look good with North Carolina fans. Two, he's basically saying, yes, we want to beat them at full strength,
which nobody ever wants to beat anybody at full strength. That's
like
horse hockey.
He's basically doing the thing. Like this is me coming out like saying something about, yes, I love it when they make me work. If they were to make me work 6 extra hours a day, knowing it will not happen. And then people are like, wow, listen to him. He's really a company man. Like
team guy.
Shane Beamer coming out. But Tez Walker, there's been nothing yet from the NCAA. Now, according to North Carolina's sources, the administration, the coaching staff are encouraged that he will play. They have a belief that he will end up playing, but we'll see what happens. But at least as of yesterday at 6:41, nobody's moving around at the NCAA at this point, and very few are probably in North Carolina. I mean, they barely go to class, as we know anyway, so I highly doubt there's a whole lot of movement up in Chapel Hill this morning. But with that being said, at least nothing has been mentioned or said as it pertains to his eligibility and being able to play on Saturday night. Maybe we will learn something about it here later on today, but at this point in time, nothing going on. We'll get back into some more with Preston on what he remembers. And again, your most memorable opener, season opener, maybe doesn't even have to be for South Carolina. If you've got a memorable opener from another team you pulled for, 803-404-6100. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. You're listening to The Early Game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Prevagen. Only in New York, folks, can sports fans enjoy such a superstar-studded summer Saturday night. Aaron Rodgers threw a gorgeous touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson and left the game in one piece, thankfully, in his long-awaited Jets debut. Shohei Ohtani broke a Citi Field scoreboard light, and Lionel Messi scored another goal for Inter Miami. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Steve is a real Prevagen user and paid testimonialist.
Hi, I'm Steve, and I live in Austin, Texas. I work as a personal assistant to the owner of a large manufacturing firm. I've got anywhere from 10 to 50 projects going at any given time. I absolutely have to be sharp. 5 years ago is when I started to notice I started making mistakes. My memory was not nearly as sharp as it had been. I was confiding in my friend about the problems I was having with my memory, and she said, Stephen, you've got to try Prevagen. After a period of time of taking Prevagen, my memory was getting better, and I started to feel a much better sense of well-being. If you're experiencing what I was experiencing, try it. I really believe that it's going to have tremendous effects for you, just like it did for me.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. Prevagen is available in stores everywhere, based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who were cognitively normal or mildly impaired.
These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This year's Carolina and Clemson Jackpot $5 scratch-off tickets give you a chance to win up to $200,000, whether you're a Gamecock or a Tiger. It's Palmetto Series time, so show your school spirit, feel that team pride, and get your tickets for a chance to win up to $200,000.
As you know, in this state, winning the Palmetto Series does matter that much. See SCEducationLottery.com for odds and details.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Yeah, you don't talk in this, and then you'll hear something. But then when you hear the next bumper music, you can talk straight up. Like, you don't have to wait 10 seconds for that one.
Your home of the Gamecocks in.
Like, when it switches just to the bumper music, then you guys could talk. You could step on it.
Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hour one almost in the books. Again, welcome to our listeners now down in Florence, 100.5, and down in Myrtle Beach, 100.3. The Game. Hope you have enjoyed the first hour so far. Coming up in hour number 2, Jamie Bradford will join us this morning as we'll get into a lot more South Carolina talk with him, his most memorable season opener, but we'll also talk with him. I want to get into a few things with he and Preston. We'll go with most underrated on offense because obviously a lot of discussion about Spencer Rattler. We'll get into a lot of discussion. We've talked a lot about Dakereon Joyner at the running back position. We've freaked out accordingly, I believe, to the injury to Juice Wells. But is there a player that maybe we're not talking about enough? I don't know if we're talking enough about Trey Knox. It's crazy. And we talked about his injury. Maybe we're not talking enough about Juju McDowell and how he could be utilized as a weapon in the offense. We'll talk with that coming up. We'll also talk about on defense who Preston thinks and who Jamie thinks could be kind of the breakout star this year, similar to a DQ Smith or a Nick Eamon-Warry. 2 guys that at this time last year we weren't talking about. We weren't discussing Eamon-Warry or DQ Smith, and obviously now you look at them as anchors of the defense. We'll get into that a lot in the next hour with Jamie Bradford. But we've been talking this morning, your most memorable home opener. Preston, like you said, you're kind of a Gamecock homer. I'm also a Gamecock opener. Same. But with that being said, what do you remember about? I think most people will go with that 99 Hurricane game up in Raleigh, the debut of the Lou Holtz era. Derek Watson scored a touchdown only to have it called back because of holding. Do you remember that game? Like, I know you weren't there. You were a senior at Somerville High.
Bill, I was there.
Oh, were you?
I was there on a recruiting visit for NC State.
Okay.
And that's the game when I secretly knew that I think I wanted to come to South Carolina. Besides the terrible weather, they had us outside as recruits in this hurricane, basically, right?
Right.
And we're just sitting out there, and they're like, man, it's going to be great coming to NC State. And they didn't give us ponchos, umbrellas. They just had us out there.
NCAA violations there. No ponchos given out.
Nothing. We had nothing. And at that moment, I was like, I don't think I want to come to this place. and I started paying attention to South Carolina for sure. So, yes, I was at that game.
What do you remember about that, besides just pouring rain? And because that was the debut again of Derek Watson, of Lou Holtz, the excitement coming off the Brad Scott era. South Carolina had lost 10 straight. And that was a season opener.
I believe they wore all white that game.
They did.
Also.
Yeah.
That unfortunate choice. I mean, I know obviously had to wear the white jerseys, but unfortunate choice. I remember pregame, they just looked like they were organized. They looked like a different team from what you had seen previous to that. And there was excitement in the air. Obviously, there was going to be a rough year for them, but watching that game, I was like, oh, this team, there's something about them. And obviously seeing, I think Squeak hit a spin move early in the game, and it was like, ooh, okay, this is interesting. And so I do remember that game pretty vividly, actually.
The co-pilot weighs in. He's actually got a picture here too on our Firehouse Subs text line. He says the New Mexico State game, most memorable opening game. Got on the field and taking down the goalpost with my brother. The next week, I was at Paris Island. So yes, I can. And thank you for that.
Did you get sent to Paris Island because of what you did?
Yeah, you head down there.
Sir,
good job.
You need to go.
Or he ripped the goalpost down completely by himself. What do you remember about that, taking the goalpost out? Obviously, that won't happen Saturday night because it's a neutral site game, and it definitely should not happen against Furman from South Carolina standpoint. But I mean, this is because it's an exciting time. Everybody, I was listening, they did that montage this weekend, and it's talking about everybody's 0-0. Everybody's in the hunt for the national championship. I always equate it that at this point, everybody's playing time is still the same. But I want to go back. So we talked about your freshman year when you went to play. You were nervous. You were waiting for Thorne to be called. Now, fast forward to 2004. You're up in Nashville for your first game. Are you like, yeah, all right, cool, we're here. Game.
What time do we play? 11. All right, let me figure out how I'm going to eat. I don't think I really like the pregame here. How am I going to eat my pregame meal when it's 6:00 in the morning when I like to eat chicken breast and spaghetti? That's not going to go well. Maybe I'm going to go to these pancakes. Then I'm going to go wear long sleeves, short sleeves. It's kind of warm outside. How y'all boys doing? All right, what y'all thinking? That's what you started to think as a senior. You're like, okay, I've done this before.
And we've talked a little bit about it. I think that's why I'm even more intrigued to see Spencer Rattler, because listening to him this preseason, for the first time, he sounds comfortable. I mean, I'll even go back to his Oklahoma days because there was so much hype, so much excitement for him. He comes in. He was sitting behind, I believe it was Jalen Hurts at the time. He's sitting behind Jalen Hurts. He wasn't expected to do anything. Then there's all the excitement for him to play, the pressure on him. Then the next year, then his sophomore year, Caleb Williams is standing behind him. And everybody's hyped about Caleb Williams. And Spencer Rattler's got more pressure on him because he's got to look over his shoulder. Last year, he comes in. Obviously, he goes through the spring in 2022. But you know this, even as a transfer, you get into the fall, the football really gets going. You got to find your classes. You're still trying to figure out your city. You're trying to really kind of learn your teammates. It's his team. This is the most comfortable I think you've heard him talk and look and feel going into a football season because it's his team. Luke Doty's not going. Luke Doty's the backup. Lenore Sellers still has a long way to go. This is Spencer Rattler's team. There's nobody behind you you're worried about right now because of how you played in the final 3 games. People are praising you. They're not calling for you to go sit on the bench. There's so many great things going for him. And that's going back to what you just kind of brought up is he's going to go up there on Friday when they go up there, and it's his team he's leading out.
You know the routines. You know everything that's happening. You know what's going on during pregame. You know how your jerseys are going to fit. You know who to talk to about equipment. All of those things that happen in the first game, you don't know what's going on. And so for him to have a whole year underneath his belt, for him to be a lot more comfortable, and for him to be sort of, like you say, comfortable in his skin, I'm not sure if that can be underestimated of how much that's going to impact his play on the field.
I go in, how does this offense look? And we'll get more into it, obviously, as the week kind of goes on and where we go with this. But certainly, I'm interested to see him because of the comfort level. Dakereon Joyner's been around for about 14 years now. He knows everything about the city.
He's showing some of the new coaches what's going on. He's like, hey, T-Rod, hey, Treveri, let me show you how we do this over here. Let me show you. He's the tour guide for all the new foods.
Yeah, he's played multiple positions. He's going over and coaching some wide receivers. He's helping at quarterback. Now he's a running back.
He's like, hey, Dow, let me show you how we do this over here.
Yeah.
No. Don't stand there. That's not where the coach is standing. Let me show you where the coach is.
This is the secret snack area over here. This is where we keep the good snacks, the unhealthy McDonald's hamburgers that we don't want Luke Day finding out about. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. Again, Firehouse Subs text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, Jamie Bradford coming up here in the next hour, and we'll catch up with him and really start to dig into this football roster as we now kind of know what they are in terms of, I know we're still going to get some shady answers this week on health. If you thought the last 3 weeks was shady, wait till Tuesday, wait till tomorrow with the press conference, wait till Carolina
60 seconds
night.
We're stretching the definition of maybe, right? Possibly, maybe, probably, questionable. We'll find out.
Yeah. Don't expect a whole lot out of that coaching staff over there, and probably from North Carolina as well. There was some news coming out this weekend that the Big Ten is going to put out some official injury reports
2 hours prior to the
2
game.
hours prior. Well, it gives you 2 hours to change the whole game plan. You know how that works.
Root Hog already told us 2 hours before the game. We already know. Somebody locally already knows way before then.
Game day availability reports from the Big Ten. We'll get into that a little bit. But a lot of South Carolina football talk set for the next hour. Jamie Bradford joining us. Welcome in to Florence, 100.5 the game, and Myrtle Beach, 100.3 the game. Glad to have you along for the ride. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5
Your spot after this thing's done.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Waking up, feeling great this morning. That's how I'm feeling. But for other people, it might not be the same. You might need to get a little work done on your back. You might have had some issues lately. You might have been playing sports. It's time to call Casey Chiropractic Center and the fantastic doctors there. Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman, Cooper, they've been in business for 20 plus years individually. That's 40 years as a team, and they are ready to help you with a natural, drugless healing profession that'll focus on aligning your spinal column, and they'll do it with an individual plan set just for you. So don't wait any longer. Give the great doctors at Casey Chiropractic a call today, 803-796-2424. Again, that's 803-796-2424. That's how you can get in touch with Dr. Pate, Dr. Roman Cooper, both of them at Casey Chiropractic. Again, 803-796-2424. Call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Sponsored by Molina Healthcare. Feel better with Molina Healthcare.
When it comes to your health, 2 experts are better than 1. That's why Molina Healthcare partners with Sandhills Medical Foundation, so you get the benefits you need to stay healthy and care from providers you trust. Choose Molina. Learn more today at meetmolinasouthcarolina.com.
Sponsored by Take 5 Oil Change. At Take 5, they're faster than you think. That means they'll change your oil and have you back on the road faster than it takes your fancy designer half-calf, heavy cream, no-whip mocha latte to get cold. Just sit back and relax while their fast-friendly team does all the work. Take 5, the stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change.
What you're talking about.
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. No hassles, no all-day runarounds, no ridiculous add-on stickers. At Love Chevy, buying a car is fun. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Breathe easier with Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning. Trust Zerorez to get your ducts insanely clean. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get $50 off your next cleaning. Use promo code AIR50 when scheduling online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
So what brings you in today, Mr. Dwelling, is it? Mr. Single Family Dwelling?
I'm cracking up, Doc. I got one of those stair-step cracks in my brick. I even have a crack in my sheetrock.
Yes, go on.
My doors and windows stick. And the other day, my chimney started pulling away.
Oh, I see.
How long have I got, Doc? Weeks? Months?
Just relax. I'm going to refer you to a specialist. We're going to set up an appointment with Ramjack.
Is your home or business trying to tell you something? Signs and symptoms are the #1 way to tell if your home might be suffering from foundation failure. If you see cracks in your brick or stucco, windows and doors that stick, sloping floors, or a chimney pulling away, call Ramjack Foundation Repair. Ramjack specializes in foundation repair for homes and businesses. We're not doctors, but we are the experts. and we warranty our work for life. If you see signs of foundation problems, call Ramjack. Free evaluations, free second opinions. Call 735-3085. That's 735-3085. Or visit ramjack.com on the web. That's ramjack.com.
The fall season is almost here, and in the state of South Carolina, there's nothing better to do than get out on the golf course with your buddies. And at Charwood Golf Club, you can get out today and enjoy. Call for a tee time, 803-755-2000. Go out and play one of the hidden gems in the Midlands here. Charwood Golf Club. Rock and Daniel Lucas have done a fantastic job and want you to come check out Charwood Golf Club, 803-755-2000. Call today to book that tee time.
Sponsored by Express Employment Professionals.
Looking for your next job? Express can help. Express Employment Professionals has put more than 10 million people to work in the last 40 years in all types of industries with competitive pay and no fee to help you find a job. What are you waiting for? Visit expresspros.com today.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Carolina men's head golf coach Bill McDonald. You're listening to WNKT FM 107.5, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Our great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. 107.5 The Game.
Jamie's ready.
It is game week. Welcome in hour number 2 of the early game. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and joined in just a second by the one and only Jamie Bradford. Want to once again welcome in our new friends, or hopefully they're our friends. We'll find out. You can weigh in on the Love Chevy phone lines or on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. But it's our new friends in Florence in 100.5 The Game, or in Myrtle Beach where you can hear us now. So if you're heading down to the beach and you want to hang out, on the sand and just relax, take in the sun and the waves, but you don't want to miss your favorite sports talk shows, well, you can do that in Myrtle Beach or in Florence. Again, 100.5 The Game in Florence, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Welcome in this morning. Glad to have y'all along for the ride as we get you up each and every morning. Preston, myself, and Jen, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. A lot of great content for you this week. We have Jamie Bradford on each and every Monday to give his perspective of whatever he's seen, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball. Jamie, of course, always ready to talk some sports. And again, we'll catch up with him here in just a minute. Later on this week, we have a fun little guest lineup this week, as always. JC Sherbert from thebigspur.com will be on tomorrow morning as he is each and every week on Tuesdays. We'll have our Vegas insider, Brian Edwards, who will join us Wednesday. Thursday, Florida and Utah will really get the college football season going with a fantastic game out there in Salt Lake City. David Waters from Gator Breakdown will join us on Thursday, and Chris Deering will join us for our high school highlights segment of the week. And just an FYI, this coming Friday, the one and only NASCAR guru Jen Jensen will lead us down to Darlington. We will be broadcasting live Friday morning from Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, why is it that I drive?
Because we get there in 20 minutes from here. There is nobody that burns up the roadway like you when we mentioned getting to Darlington, and you are more than excited to do it.
Well, they do make a very, very, very good point there that, I try to get there as quickly as I can.
Yes.
Rock on, man.
I know. So
racy.
Friday morning, we'll be getting you ready because not only is it obviously the opening week, the true opening weekend, I should say, of college football season, but we have the Darlington race. The playoffs get going, and we'll tell you more about that because we'll have our quarterly Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge coming up, and that has become very, very close. Kerry Tharp with another victory this weekend. Didn't pick the winner, but his 5 points, my 2 points equals now just a 2-point lead for me in our quarterly Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. So welcome into Florence. Welcome into Myrtle Beach. Glad to have you all along for the ride. Joining us now, and you get to hear him each and every Monday, Jamie Bradford. And Jamie, I'll just open with this as I've asked. What is your most memorable opener? Doesn't have to be home opener, but in terms of South Carolina, somebody weighed in with a high school game here a little bit ago. I'll get back to reading. It's not a good one that you want to remember. Jeremy weighed in, by the way, and said 04-05 White Knoll High School beat Ridgeview 28-24 at Blythewood's new stadium after going 0-11 the year before.
Big one. Okay.
That was good. Jamie, you got an opener, a football season opener that stands out the most?
Well, I mean, kind of piggybacking on that, I hate to say it, but I'll never forget the goalpost coming down against New Mexico State in 2000, because it just seemed like it was never going to happen for a couple of years, and then it finally did. So it's hard to not forget that day. That's for sure. I'll sit in the south end zone and I'll never forget about somewhere in the middle of the third quarter thinking, we're not going to lose today. Oh my God, we're not going to lose. And they didn't. They won 31-0. So Coach Holtz, as you know pretty well, Preston, took them in 2000 to where nobody thought they could be.
Yeah, you're right. We've talked a little bit about it. Preston was a redshirt freshman and said he dressed out and went through all the stretches and did all the things necessary he had to do. Then went and stood on the sideline with one of the best tickets in the stadium.
Great seats. I had great seats. Actually, not great seats, because when you're not playing, you can't stand anywhere in between the 30s to the 30. So you just
was that a host rule? Is that like what
it's just kind of custom? It's
okay.
Like you're not playing. Don't get involved with the actual people who
unwritten rule of the game is what you're telling me?
Very much so. Don't be the person that's just in the way.
So you couldn't even go stand on the bench to like view everybody with a towel around your neck or over your shoulder or something?
Well, also in true Coach Holtz fashion, we had to be fully dressed at all times.
Oh.
So, we had to have helmet on and all that, even though I know I'm not having zero chance of playing. Shout out to Coach Holtz.
So, yeah. No, you're right, Jamie. That 2001 game, and that was such a dark time in South Carolina history. And now you fast forward to 2023, and we're going to go into this season on such a opposite note. And this is why at times bowl games don't matter, because South Carolina lost the last game they play in, but we kind of ignore that. It was a great game. But I don't know how you guys feel, and I'll ask you, Jamie, to start with, like, in terms of excitement, where this kind of ranks in terms of years where you go, man, really, really, really excited to see this team in year 3 of Shane Beamer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it starts with Spencer, because it's just been very rare for a long time that you had an elite game-changing quarterback at the helm. And I don't mean that disrespectfully at all to Connor. I don't mean that disrespectfully to Dylan in 2014 or to Steven. That was a pretty good run of quarterbacks right there. Those 3 guys consecutively. I don't mean that disrespectfully to Tannehill or Anthony Wright or Phil Petty or anybody in between. But I mean, Spencer Rattler's a different kind of talent. We know it. And when he performs at that level, he can beat anybody in the country, period. And he's done it in his career. So, I think that's where, you've got a lot of optimism. And I would call it cautious optimism, of course. But then you have some unknowns, certainly. And then it's the same thing every year. If people, I can't believe this is ever a conversation with the national media. It happens every year. All they want to do is talk about South Carolina's schedule. Guys, they play one of the toughest schedules every year. Quit looking at it. It is what it is. You got to just go beat the teams that are on it. And so this is one of those years where when you feel like you've got top-notch talent like that, you can go out and do some special things. Of course, you got to go win game 1, and that's what it comes down to. But I know they're excited, and when they're excited, that makes me pretty excited too.
Yeah, we talked about Spencer Rattler a little bit in the last segment, and in the next segment, I want to get you and Preston's take on an offensive player. I know you've been very high on Josh Simon, but maybe another offensive player that you think we have not talked about enough this preseason that could come in. I'm not sure we've talked enough about Trey Knox, to be dead honest with you. I've brought up maybe Xavier Legette as a guy that this year steps up a little bit more. Travis on our live stream went with Amarion Brown, so I want to get to that in the next segment. But one thing, Jamie, that Preston and I did just talk about was just the comfort level of Spencer Rattler. I know it's a new offensive coordinator, but he does seem to be a guy that is poised to have a big year in Dow Loggins' offense, if what I think both of us are hearing kind of behind the scenes is indeed true.
Yeah, I think. Look, Dowell Loggins is a guy that you talk about something you're excited to see. That's what I'm excited to see. I mean, seriously, he ran offenses in the NFL for over a decade, and he's been very honest about what he feels like he has on the offensive side of the football at South Carolina to work with, and he's got good players. I mean, he's got really good players. I mean, clearly, the question comes down to how quickly do they put it together up front. But regardless of the X's and O's and getting into the deep ball talk and things like that, I mean, you have a guy who understands what it takes to play in the NFL and to be successful in the NFL, coaching a bunch of guys that have a chance to go to the NFL. That's that could be a pretty good scenario, right? So, and you had Spencer Rattler just over a week ago say, this offense suits me a lot better. And I truly believe him with that. I mean, you talk about this pro-style offense he was supposed to play in last year, and last year's gone in history, so it really doesn't need to be brought up anymore. But then you hear him say, this suits me better, and it's hard to just not be excited about what you could possibly see out there. So, yeah, I mean, they've got a bunch of talent on the field, and they've got a guy who believes in them, who has enough confidence to give his quarterback the reins. Hey, when you get to the line of scrimmage, if you don't see it, change it. If you don't like that play, throw it out. To me, that sounds like a pretty good partnership and a good way to create some success.
803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning, whether you're living in Florence, whether you're living in Myrtle Beach, wherever you're at this morning. Again, 803-404-6100. You can send a text message in to our Firehouse Subs text line. We've had a couple come in already this morning. Darby weighing in regarding Jen driving us to Darlington. Said Jen's not speeding. She's qualifying.
Excellent.
Not sure what she's qualifying for.
I think that's really good. I'm trying to get the best time possible.
Yes.
That is not legal advice. Please do not use that.
People with blinking lights in their cars that hand out pretty pink tickets do not agree with you on that.
Probably not. I'm thinking I could try it and then make sure we get his number so I can say, hey, he told me.
Yes.
He told me to.
Well, we have the phone number there from Darby. John weighs in. Don't forget to tell Florence and Myrtle Beach about Gamecock Larry. He's already called in. He is now just part of the show rundown that he goes into the 6 o'clock segment. We have just included him into what we have to cover in the 6 o'clock segment. Richard weighing in on Spencer Rattler said, Rattler has been so inconsistent over the course of his career. I have no expectations for him. Whatever he does, he does in my eyes, waiting to see Lenore Sellers at quarterback. We'll talk about the offense. We'll get into that a little bit. You're listening.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but that is, everybody can't wait for the next freshman hotshot quarterback around here. How's that worked out in the last, 100 years? That's a ridiculous.
Well, they already got the commitment for 2026. Isn't it 2026? I believe Ryan Montgomery's 2025. Exactly. Reno's 2024.
Alive in 2026.
Landon Duckworth out of Alabama is the 2026 quarterback. Yeah, we waiting on him. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Life moves until back, neck, or shoulder pain hits and brings you to a stop. That's why there's the Joint Chiropractic, an easy and affordable way to relieve pain and help keep you moving. At The Joint, there's no appointment or insurance hassles, and we're open evenings and weekends. Visit today to keep your life moving with our $29 new patient special, including an exam, consultation, and chiropractic adjustment.
4 Midlands locations: Forest Acres, Harbison, Killian Road, and Lexington.
Have you heard about the new 16-month certificate State Credit Union is offering? It comes with a fantastic annual percent yield of 4.73%. You heard it right, 4.73% APY. To open your new 16-month certificate, visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches. For a list of locations, visit sccu.com/locations. Limited time offer, $500 opening deposit required. State Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. The first step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me, John Ecton.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save more with our weekly digital deals. Select Kroger peanut butter or Kroger bread are only 99 cents each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
5 days till kickoff.
While others take full advantage of the market with ridiculous add-on stickers, Love never sells above MSRP. Come experience the difference at Love Chevy, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
This Labor Day, discover the art of relaxation on a new pontoon boat from Mid-Carolina Marine. Mid-Carolina Marine is moving out our remaining stock of Berkshire pontoons with the lowest prices of the year. Now's your chance to get the boat of your dreams at an unbeatable price. Payments start as low as $325 per month. Owning your own pontoon boat has never been easier. Berkshire pontoons are quality from bow to stern. Berkshire's the only pontoon that comes standard with a composite deck and versatile enough for the whole family to enjoy tubing, skiing, and long sunset cruises with the stylish comfort you'd expect from a Berkshire pontoon. Unplug and get the family on the water and make memories that'll last a lifetime. Prices start in the low 40s, and our financing options make buying easy and affordable. The Mid-Carolina Marine Labor Day Pontoon Blowout, going on now. 718 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia, or visit midcarolinamarine.com. That's midcarolinamarine.com.
We woke up to a clear blue sky on what became one of our darkest days. Remember, a national tragedy created national unity. Remember, unbearable pain led to unbreakable strength. We will never break. Remember the hope, resilience, and unity that brought us together after 9/11. Make sure these lessons live on for a new generation at neverforget.org.
Picture a door. On it, a sign that says, "Do not look." Every instinct says danger, but still you peek. Inside, a room full of cockroaches, which can trigger asthma attacks, rodents that contaminate food and transmit disease, and termites which cause billions in property damage each year. Trust your instincts, know the signs. Learn how to protect your family and home at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, safely drive that automobile. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:18 on your Monday morning game week. Gamecocks, Tar Heels set to roll 7:30 Saturday night in Charlotte. It'll wrap up a 3-game series that these teams signed for this neutral site game. 2015, 2019, 2023 was the 3-game series that'll conclude these Charlotte games. Guys, I got to admit, I'm happy this is the last Charlotte game. I went to Chapel Hill back in 2007, I think it was, when South Carolina went up there and held on 21-15. South Carolina has their game in Atlanta against Virginia Tech in 2015 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That'll be neat and cool on so many different levels. But I don't like the neutral site games. I like the home and away. Seeing Florida State go to LSU or LSU go to Florida State instead, they were in the I believe the Mercedes-Benz Superdome last year. This year they'll be in Orlando at the Capitol, whatever that one is, Camping World Stadium. I like the home, the true home and aways you get, and I'll be glad when this little Charlotte series is over. Preston, I don't know how you feel about it. You never played a true neutral site game. That game at War Memorial was still a home game.
Yeah, I don't not in love with neutral site games, just for the fact of, even as a player, one of the cool parts is seeing the new stadium, seeing the traditions, hearing all those different things. I guess what they could say is that as a player, it's cool to play in an NFL stadium. I could see that being an appeal. But other than that, you sort of like seeing the customs and traditions of whatever team you're playing against.
Jamie, I'm guessing you're with us on this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm, for the most part. I mean, one every so often is fine. I think that we kind of washed away the meaning of these things. You know, they were very unique at one point in time and very rare, and then everybody got into them because you can make money. So, I'm looking forward to the one in Atlanta against Virginia Tech because we've never done that before. But yeah, I'm kind of over it.
It should be noted that the next time, at least on the schedule, you never know with bowl games and such, but the next time these two teams will play will be September 2nd, 2028. And that game will be in Columbia, and that will be the season opener. And then in 2029, we were just talking about the quarterback in 2026, so why not look way, way, way down the road? But in 2029, South Carolina will open the season in Chapel Hill against North Carolina. Go ahead and mark your calendar appropriately. That'll be September 1st of 2029.
Put your days in now.
Go ahead. Yeah.
If you're a third grader on the way to good school now, mark that on your calendar.
I did this with my daughter. I hate to say this because now I'm going to feel, but I did this with my daughter when it was announced. I was like, hey, her birthday is September 10th. I was like, hey, your 18th birthday, how you feel about spending it in Miami? That's September 18th. South Carolina goes to Miami 2027. How you feel? She's like, Dad, I'm 18. I can't drink. I was like, true. Or I'll be 18. I was like, but true. But still, Miami might be a lot of fun. yeah, I can. So you just go down and we'll have a good time. But yeah, looking way ahead. So Saturday night against September 2nd this year will be the last time that these teams meet in Charlotte. The next time on the schedule will be 2028 and 2029. Again, those will be season openers. They're on the schedule now for season openers. North Carolina here in Columbia in 2028. Gamecocks go up to Chapel Hill in 2029. Let's go back to the offense for a second. A couple people weighing in on what we were talking about as it pertains to Spencer Rattler. Billy in Blythewood saying, I'm excited about Spencer Rattler. Whatever Beamer did at the end of the season, we saw the true quarterback. He can make all the throws, dynamic arm, ability to avoid pressure, and run the offense smoothly. Yeah, I mean, the thing with him has always been consistency, right? Like, that's what we're wanting to see to start off the season is consistency on Saturday night, right?
Yeah,
Jamie?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you want to see him perform at the level that he's capable of performing of, and that's been the thing that has kind of hindered him a little bit since he's been here. I mean, he's had a really good career. I mean, he had really one bad game at Oklahoma, and they took him out halfway through, and that job was taken from him by Caleb Williams, who went on to win the Heisman Trophy. Prior to that, I mean, this guy was in the conversation to receive the Heisman Trophy. And last year, when you don't do what you did at the end of the season without Spencer Rattler, for those that are coming out of their parents' basement here now that football season is returning. And This might sound like a bold statement, but good luck naming one better. He had the single greatest performance in the history of the program against Tennessee by a quarterback. Can you name one ever that's been better? Ever. There isn't one. Okay. So this guy is capable of doing all kinds of things. And he has an offensive coordinator that understands it. Now, again, you gotta see him go out there and do it. And I understand that. And, that's no different from anybody else. But he is as capable as they've ever had in a South Carolina uniform, period, the end. And if he goes out there and performs anywhere close to what he's capable of doing, they have a chance to beat a lot of teams, and they have a chance to have a special season. And you can't have a special season unless you beat teams you're not supposed to beat, like they did twice at the end of last season.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Jamie. I think it's also unfair to Spencer to judge the first part of last year's performance because that offense was terrible. Objectively terrible. Whether that was through the coordinator, play calling, whatever you want to call it, but everything about the design of that offense was terrible. So to put somebody in that situation is not going to be something that we can necessarily judge him on. As you said, Bill, arm talent, consistency, arm talent, being able to make special throws. There are not a lot of people in the world, however you want to universe, whatever you want to quantify it, that can make some of the throws that Spencer can make. And I would rather have somebody like that on my side as opposed to, an average Joe. So you rather have somebody like this go into battle with him than without him.
I go back to the comfort level. Now, we are all interested. Very rarely does anybody go into a regular season, in the start of a regular season, and look at the new offense coordinator and be like, well, that guy's offense isn't going to work. Like most people give it a chance. We are all fascinated because a lot of this is on Dow Loggins. We all agree that Marcus Satterfield didn't give, if you run 99 plays, if you have 99 plays in the playbook and you're not practicing, it's tough. It's tough on a college player. Preston, you've talked about it. Marcus Satterfield didn't set up Spencer Rattler to be successful. And it wasn't until late in the season when, as we understand, they shortened the playbook. They narrowed things down. They said, let's focus on what we do well, which sounds stupid. Sounds like what you should do as a coach, but I guess sometimes you get in your own head and you don't do that. It is going to be interesting to see what Dow Loggins calls on Saturday night. And Jamie and Preston, how often when something works, he decides to go back to it.
And that makes a lot of sense. Real quickly, one of the things you said, Jamie, that I wanted to bring back is that what I've been impressed with Dow Loggins is his honesty in his thought process. He's been very thorough in explaining what his thought process was. And I don't know what plays he's going to call. I think I have an insight into who he is as a play caller. Obviously, things will change with the first game. He'll make some calls that he wish he could have had back. That's everybody. But I do think I have a little bit more insight into who and what he is as a play caller, which we never had the past 2 years.
Yeah, I think, there's a stark difference, Preston, Bill, and Myrtle Beach and Florence. Good morning, guys. In what you're hearing in the preseason and this partnership that has been created essentially versus like kind of what you heard going into last season. Of course, going into last season, you were also coming out of the 21 season, and all eyes were on the offense. And is this going to be any better? And the whole 9 yards. And it wasn't until the end of the year when they finally made a couple of changes to make it work. But I think the big difference here, the big contrast between the start of the season or leading into the start of the season is that you have an offensive coordinator, at least my understanding of this, and this isn't just from watching, interviews. We have pretty good sources. We hear things. We know what's going on. You have an offensive coordinator in Coach Loggins who truly trusts his quarterback with his system, but with an asterisk. This is our system. It's not mine. I'm bringing the playbook. Okay, here are the things that I think work, but you need to sign off on this because you're playing. I'm not. And that's a lot different from what we've seen around here, at least recently. And when a quarterback feels like his offensive coordinator trusts him like that, and he's good, he doesn't suck. He can actually play football like Spencer can. you have the possibility of really good things happening, because both sides, again, somebody stop me if I'm wrong, Preston, you know better than all of us, but both sides, the guy calling the plays, in this case, Dow Loggins, and the guy running the show on the field, the quarterback, Spencer Rattler, they're on the same page, but when they disagree, they understand each other. Okay, I've got it. You know, it's not a fight. No, this is my play. No, this is what you're going to call. You know, hey, here's the play. You can change the play at the line of scrimmage. You can't change the play at the line of scrimmage unless you understand what play you're changing and what you're changing it to, which was a problem for a while around here. So there's a lot of trust and a lot of comfort and a lot of confidence. Again, we got to go see them play, but it's just hard not to be excited about those things before they kick off.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. If you're in Florence and Myrtle Beach, that number works just the same. Don't hesitate to send us a text message if you hear something you agree with or you want to weigh in. Again, 803-404-6100. Again, welcome in. Florence in 100.5 The Game, Myrtle Beach 100.3 The Game. Glad to have you in. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Sponsored by Family Dollar. Falling back into routine can be stressful. That's why Family Dollar has more to help you stay ahead of the class. Stock your pantry and save with snack time favorites like cereal, cookies, crackers, and Tyson frozen chicken. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hosting a career fair on Tuesday, August 29th from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. in Columbia. Stop by the SCDC recruiting office at 4502 Broad River Road to discover the rewarding careers and great employee benefits available with SCDC. They're hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, teachers, mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. There's increased pay for many positions and sign-on bonuses starting at $7,500. Call 803-734-JOBS for more info.
I am here with the new sponsor of 107.5 The Game, Jason Shannon with the Cook and Boardman Group, the nation's leading supplier and largest inventory of architectural and commercial doors, frames, and door hardware. Jason, I know you have some exciting news to share.
Thanks, Bill. And we are very excited to announce the opening of our new storefront right here in the Midlands. We now have a full-service counter open Monday through Friday starting at 7 a.m. We are located at 101 Corporate Boulevard in West Columbia, which is just off of Chris Drive behind Man Tool and Supply. Our experienced team is ready to help you with the selection of high-quality, competitively priced commercial wood and metal doors and hardware, commercial welded and knockdown metal frames, fire-rated doors, access control systems, lock sets, and more. For more information, call us at 803-739-0642. That's 803-739-0642.
The early game show will be broadcasting live from Cook and Boardman for their open house event on Tuesday, September 12th. Come see us and meet the Cook and Boardman team. There'll be free food, giveaways, and door prizes. That's Tuesday, September 12th, starting at 7 a.m. See you there.
Hunting season is here, and that means ATV season at Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Honda ATVs are tough, reliable, and the only choice for outdoorsmen who want the best ATV for their hard-earned dollar. Come shop Honda Ranchers, Rubicons, Foremans, and Recons. Four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, automatic, manual, they have them all. The new 2024 models are arriving weekly. Come see for yourself. Take exit 70 off I-20. Turn by the Flying J. CarolinaHonda.com. Honda recommends utility ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all riders take a training course.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen. You want an exciting and fast-paced podcast based on one of the most popular segments in the history of The Rich Eisen Show? Well, you got it. Overreaction Monday, hosted by me, Rich Eisen, and my compadre, Chris Brockman. And every Monday, we're going to dive into the headlines from pro and college football and overreact. Are you ready, Chris Brockman? Yay or nay?
Yes, Rich. No holding back, buddy. I'm coming for you.
Absolutely what you need to hear. Overreaction Monday, every single, wait for it, Monday, wherever you listen.
We are the Veterans Health Administration, and our hands provide life-changing care to over 9 million veterans across more than 1,200 facilities nationwide. Join hands with us to make an impact in your community. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there are as few as 3,200. The Earth's wild animals can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Alrighty, everyone, a good Monday to you. It's time for your First Alert traffic update. It has been a relatively calm traffic flow around the region this morning. Overall, going to be seeing our heavily traveled roadways and interstates still getting backed up in a little bit of our spots. But, it's Monday. It's a new school day, new work week. Just need to be mindful of people making that weekend transition. But still, no major backups to report on or bad confirmed collisions this morning. We'll make sure to keep you updated if anything major changes. Thanks again for listening. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Check. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. Make it a safe travel day.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
7:36 on your Monday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and as he does each and every Monday, Jamie Bradford along for the ride. Welcome in Florence on 100.5 The Game. Welcome in Myrtle Beach, 100.3 The Game. Glad to have you here. If anything you hear this morning, you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can do so this morning if you'd like to. Again, catching up with Jamie and talking a little bit about this upcoming week and what we have going on. Obviously, first weekend now. The question, we've been talking a lot about Spencer Rattler. My question to you two is this. Like every year, somebody breaks out you kind of do not expect. We've talked a lot about the De'Carron Joyner at the running back position. We've talked a lot about Spencer Rattler, as we just have in the first 30 minutes of this hour. We've talked a lot about Juice Wells and the injury. Jamie, I'll start with you on this. Now, you've talked a lot about Josh Simon, and I do really like Josh Simon. If I took away Josh Simon from you, who else do you go with that could be a breakout player offensively, probably that wide receiver or tight end position that we have not talked enough about, in your opinion?
So it has to be a skill guy, is what you're saying?
No, if you've got a lineman, I'm just whoever you got.
Yeah, I think that you're hearing the name Jackson Hughes more and more for a reason, and I know that that's not a sexy pick in a conversation like this. You want to talk about guys who are going to go out and make big plays and get their face all over the scoreboard and stuff like that. And I get it, but they have a lot of really good skill guys, and I mean we've seen the emergence of Omega Blake, a guy that they've been excited about since day one. And all those type things. I think Amari and Brown is going to have a good year. I think when you look in the backfield as time goes on, I have high confidence that DJ Braswell is going to end up being a guy. He just is going to have to get his feet wet and continue to kind of learn things. But they can't do any of that without a left tackle. So if you don't have one, all those guys, they don't get the chance to emerge and end up being what they want to be. Spencer Rattler is. As much confidence as I have, and a lot of people have, is in him being very successful, right? I mean, he can't be what we think he can be unless you play up front. So I'm going to go with the offensive line. I think collectively they're going to be better than people think, and I like the fact that they have. You don't just start playing left tackle, right? Right, Preston? Like, you got to have a clue if you're going to play that position. So I'm going to go with Jackson Hughes. I think he's going to get the start this week, and I think he's going to end up being pretty good.
That's a great pick. I was going to go with the other offensive lineman transfer, Nick Gargiulo.
Okay.
That's what I was going to go with,
Nick
because I don't, and I'm not
Good
saying
for
I'm
you.
predicting a breakout season, but I do think if he has a good season, that bodes very well for the team. And so those are two good picks. I mean, again, like Jamie said, it's not sexy, but those are the people who are going to allow the stuff to happen.
It's going to be interesting because South Carolina has this great offensive line recruiting class right now lined up with Josiah Thompson, with Cam Pringle, with Blake Franks. Who knows where else they may go here as we wrap up the recruiting cycle over the next 4 months. But I wonder what changes your opinion if indeed this offensive line ends up being better than average, right? If they're above average, if they're able to perform this year, and if you end up with 3 transfers, a walk-on from Charlotte, a transfer from Western Illinois, well-known football powerhouse, and a transfer from Yale. And that would be Jackson Hughes from Charlotte. That would be Sidney Fugar at right tackle from Western Illinois. And that would be Nick Gargiulo from Yale. If those 3 end up coming in, and you look at it because it just would be interesting to say, boy, you recruit all these 4- and 5-star guys, all these great guys, but you can go out and rebuild an offensive line in 1 year by not even going to, say, Georgia Tech or North Carolina State or Kentucky and landing an offensive line, what I would say is kind of mid-majors type programs. But you're going to Yale and Western Illinois and taking a transfer from Charlotte, and that's how you create an SEC offensive line. I think that, to me, is really interesting because maybe it changes the narrative of how you think about trying to recruit and build an offensive line, Preston.
That makes a lot of sense because what we know about offensive line is that is a major part of it is technique. Aside from size, which a lot of people fall in love with, and that's where a lot of people get these 4 and 5 stars, just simply based on how big and strong they are. But what really comes down to the offensive line, more so than any other position on the field, is technique. Do you have your feet work? Do you have your hands right? Do you understand the play placement? And when these guys are older and they've played in situations when there are guys who can take on this mental load, I can see this being a strategy that teams employ in the future because offensive line guys, shout out to them, even though, I have my personal beefs with them. They are usually the best dudes on the team. And so they're very rarely going to be somebody who's going to cause any issues on the team. More than likely, they're going to be people who bring folks together on a squad. Offensive linemen, by and large, tend to be the best dudes on the team.
Jamie, again, I think it's interesting that if that's how it plays out, and they're good. Look, I know Marquis Anderson's a freshman and Big Tree Babalade's a freshman, and I get it. You don't want those guys necessarily being ready to play right off the bat, but how would you view that if you go and you find 3 transfers just like that?
No, for those in the Florence, Myrtle Beach area, if they haven't ever heard of me before, we host a show called Inside the Gamecocks every day at 11 o'clock, and I said the same thing last week, Bill. I said, I was telling JC and Phil and Mike Morgan, I said, guys, if I would have gone back to last year, the day before the new year, that they played Notre Dame on the 30th, if I would have said on the 31st, hey, I'm going to tell you what, man, don't worry about this offensive line, because next year when they kick off against North Carolina, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to blow your socks away. Listen how good they're going to be. They're going to have a transfer starting at right tackle from winless Western Illinois.
Yeah.
They're going to have a transfer left guard from the powerhouse of Yale. Hell yeah. And then Yale is what I meant to say. And then on the at left tackle, you're going to have a walk-on left tackle from right up the road at Charlotte. Man, they're going to be unstoppable. You would have looked at me and your head would have fallen off. You would have been like, oh my, we're going to be terrible. We're not going to win a game next year. But it's not the case. So, sometimes, you don't want to judge a book by its cover is the old saying, right? So I don't know. We might be able to open the cover and start judging pretty early on Saturday, but so far, they feel pretty good about this group. And I had a chance to spend a lot of time around Nick Gargiulo and Sidney Fugar back in April at a couple of events we had. Those are large men. They size-wise, they fit in the SEC. Preston mentioned footwork. I'll be anxious to see what that looks like.
And I do think you will get, at least looking at North Carolina, especially with Tez Walker being out and excluding Drake May at quarterback, the defensive line for North Carolina conceivably could be their strength when you kind of go through. There's some guys that need to live up a little bit more to their recruiting ranking that maybe haven't done exactly what you would have thought they were when they were recruited. But that defensive line, you talk about Desmond Evans there, a guy that South Carolina wanted very badly. We'll kind of see how it all plays out. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our number 2 with Jamie Bradford. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5.
It's like when I say jump, you say how high.
0.3, the game in Myrtle.
Man, that was awesome. It was like when I said jump, you said how high. You like.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. This afternoon, a New York City Council committee will vote on extending a special permit for Madison Square Garden to continue operating at its current site above Penn Station. Garden owner Jim Dolan wants a permanent permit. Critics who want the garden to relocate.
Stop, drop, and roll. I love it.
Transportation hub want a short-term permit. This is going to get interesting. More in the next hour. I'm Boomer Esiason.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites, WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
I am here with the new sponsor of 107.5 The Game, Jason Shannon, with the Cook and Boardman Group, the nation's leading supplier and largest inventory of architectural and commercial doors, frames, and door hardware. Jason, I know you have some exciting news to share.
Thanks, Bill. And we are very excited to announce the opening of our new storefront right here in the Midlands. We now have a full-service counter open Monday through Friday starting at 7 a.m. We are located at 101 Corporate Boulevard in West Columbia, which is just off of Chris Drive behind Man Tool and Supply. Our experienced team is ready to help you with the selection of high-quality, competitively priced commercial wood and metal doors and hardware, commercial welded and knockdown metal frames, fire-rated doors, access control systems, lock sets, and more. For more information, call us at 803-739-0642. That's 803-739-0642.
The Early Game Show will be broadcasting live from Cook and Boardman for their open house event on Tuesday, September 12th. Come see us and meet the Cook and Boardman team. There'll be free food, giveaways, and door prizes. That's Tuesday, September 12th, starting at 7 a.m. See you there.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
7:48 on your Monday morning, a Monday morning that is officially game week. We'll wrap up the month of August. Friday, we will be down in Darlington at Darlington Raceway, getting you ready for the race this coming Sunday. We'll talk more about that as the week goes along. But on Saturday night, South Carolina and North Carolina, line still, depending on where you look, depending on which outlet you look at, 2.5 to 3. And we'll kind of monitor that throughout the week. Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider.com, set to join us on Wednesday in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll get into more of the lines this coming season. 803-404-6100 if you're in Florence. If you're in Myrtle Beach, that is the number you can text in or call in if you hear something and you want to weigh in on. Jay from the Interstate, text in and says, would like to get Jamie and Preston's take on the defensive line. Are they going to be better against the run and getting to the quarterback? Preston, we've talked about it. That's your specialty.
Good question.
Yeah.
That is the question. I wish I had a great answer for you. I'm going to have more intel after the game on Saturday. What does that mean? I think that they will be tougher against the defensive line because I do believe in Travian Robinson as a coach. I believe that their technique might be a little bit better. I also think that Tonka is poised to have a really strong season. All that being said, I think that is the biggest question that we need to figure out.
Jamie?
100% agree with that question. What they give up last year, 198. So, Preston, I think they need to get down about 30 yards a game if they can. Get under 170, and you probably pick up a win somewhere you wouldn't have.
We talked about underrated players. Last year, Nick Eamon-Worry and DQ Smith were not guys we were talking about on the defensive side, and obviously now we look at them as anchors of that defense. Is there a guy, Jamie, that you look at? Is it Stone Blanton's time after a year in the system, an off season to get faster, to get bigger, to get stronger? Do you look at a guy like Debo Williams? Where do you go with a defensive player that emerges much like maybe Eamon-Worry or Smith did last year?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting conversation because somebody's going to play their way into that role of leader on the defense. I think there's a lot of guys right now that have a chance to be that. I mean, I could tell you, my dear friend Pat DeMarco raves about Debo Williams, just the mind that he has. We've compared him to Shaq Wilson in his elder years at South Carolina, and just in how he kind of gets it out there. He brings the heat, brings the wood, but knows where everybody's supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, kind of the quarterback of the defense. But then, guys, I mean, it's hard to not really fall in love with the secondary. Number one, they've had results. Number two, they're all from the great state of South Carolina. But look, I think at the end of the day, this guy isn't probably the quote unquote leader of the defense necessarily right now. But it's hard for me to imagine this defense taking a step forward without Jordan Strawn being a major part of that. And as long as he's healthy, I think they can. Sounds like he's 100% and ready to go, which is great news, according to Coach Beamer. And if he's ready to go and they've got a guy that they feel really confident with at the end position there, who's been around here a little while, I think the rest of these guys will kind of fall in line. Up front, I mean, there's a bunch of options, believe it or not, at that tackle position. They like where they are. And so I think the guys who haven't gotten as much notoriety over the years, just not as much PT, Barrett, Sanders, probably expect them to start playing a little bit more too.
What I'm curious to see is where Tonka plays. Does he play more inside or more outside? And I think that depends on who's the person that stepped up. Did Barrett step up? Is Strong 100% healthy? And I think that's where it's going to end up seeing. But we're all in kind of wait and see mode.
Guys, real quick, Jimmy Lindsey he's not passed away, but is a fantastic human being. He left to go to LSU and has now had some health issues. But I didn't want to refer to him in past tense. He is the past tense defensive line coach in that minute. I didn't want people to be like, what did I miss? What did I miss? But I don't want people to take that the wrong way. But real quick,
man,
Travian Robertson coming here, and Jamie, I don't know how much I can't quite remember how much we've really talked about it with you, but the Brad Lawing disciple, it sounds like it is a 180 in terms of intensity and how they're being taught. And I think that's really interesting, Preston.
Oh, I mean, listen, we just got to be able to call it. These men are professionals. Just like the previous offensive coordinator was professional, Jimmy Lindsey is professional too. And I think in his profession, his unit did not perform up to par. I think that's very fair for anybody to say. And I also think that we've received an upgrade in Travion Robinson at that position. I don't think there's anything wrong with stating that.
I don't either. I 100% agree with Preston there. I mean, I think, hey, look, stars don't matter, but sometimes stars do. And you had a defensive line last year that had 2 5-stars starting on it, and they were underwhelming. I mean, and you look what Zach Pickens is doing right now in the preseason in the NFL.
Yes.
He's been outstanding for Chicago.
Absolutely.
And I just felt like he was absent at times for South Carolina. And I don't put that on Zach Pickens either, because I know what type of work ethic that young man has. So I'm with Preston. Not to call anybody out, I felt like they weren't as good as they should have been, and that you won't. That's not going to happen with Travion Robertson with the Brad Lawing sprinkle. He's gotten that salt. No way.
Yeah, again, with Travion Robertson, I think it's really interesting and something. But Jamie, I'll let Preston get into it a little bit more. How long it takes for a coach like that to come in and really implement his fundamentals and his style. We'll let Preston get sporty sports and nerdy nerd in the next hour and break down the defensive line. But Jamie, welcome back, man. It's football. It is officially football season. I think Alan hit me up earlier and said the NCAA officially referred to week 1 as this past weekend. I think we all refer to it as this coming weekend when it really heats up.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Can't wait to be in Charlotte and see so many of you. And certainly looking forward to hopefully talking about a win next Monday. Hats off to Myrtle Beach and Florence.
Appreciate it. Yep, we will be on Labor Day. We will be on bright and early, 6 to 9, and Jamie will be joining us as we'll break down the South Carolina, North Carolina game. Jamie, appreciate it. Look forward to catching up next week.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
Take care. Jamie Bradford joining us as he does. Follow him on Twitter at SportsMediaJB if you're not already doing that. Hour 3 on the way. We got some thorns, buds, and roses. We got to get into some fashion talk, too. New Mexico State wore ponchos this week, and that's right up Preston's alley.
I love it.
We'll get into a lot. Hour 3 on the way. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Getting older, well, it's not a lot of fun. Sometimes you can have a little bit of brain fog. I tell you what, getting older, sometimes you don't sleep quite as well. But you know what? Dr. Dan Balknight over at the men's clinic, they want to get you back to your best self, which may even mean restoring low testosterone. Some symptoms of low testosterone or low T could be a lack of drive. Again, it could be that brain fog, could be not sleeping well, could be a lack of energy. Something just as simple as that. Contact Dr. Dan Balknight today, 803-875-MENS, or visit them on the web, mensclinicsc.com. Again, that's mensclinicsc.com, 803-875-MENS. The Men's Clinic is a local clinic with a local respected physician in Dr. Balknight. He'll oversee your care. It's not like the programs you see online. This is a tailored regimen for you based on the results from blood work and symptoms you are experiencing. So contact Dr. Dan Balknight today, 803-875-MENS, or visit them on the web, mensclinicsc.com. Call Dr. Dan Balknight today. Tell him you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Molina Healthcare. Feel better with Molina Healthcare.
With Molina Healthcare, you get a health plan with lots of great benefits, including a large network of quality providers. And that makes it easier to find the right doctor for you. For the care you need, close to home, choose Molina. Learn more now at meetmolinasouthcarolina.com.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. If you root for the Tigers or the Gamecocks, the lottery is again inviting you to choose a side. Carolina and Clemson jackpot scratch-offs are on sale now. Bragging rights on these tickets are worth as much as $200,000, and there are great second chance prizes. See sceducationlottery.com for game odds and details.
What you're talking about
on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. There are lots of places to buy your next ride, but there is no place like Love Chevy, where you never pay more than MSRP, ever. Come by and feel the difference of love. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Hedale Wine Pool and Spa is your one-stop shop for all things swimming pools and hot tubs. New construction of vinyl, fiberglass, or gunite swimming pools, as well as liner replacements, weekly maintenance, repairs to existing equipment, or upgrades. Come see us at 5541 Sunset Boulevard to check out our full line of spas and where we offer free water samples and all the chemicals you need to keep your pool and spa clear and clean. Hedale Wine Pool and Spa. You'll find us on Facebook or online at HedaleWinePools.com.
Life matters. Here's a riddle for you. What is more powerful than God and more evil than the devil? Rich people need it, but poor people already have it. And if you eat it, you will die. Do you know the answer? What's that? You need a little more time? Sorry, we only have 58 seconds here. The answer? Well, the answer is nothing. Nothing is more powerful than God. Nothing is more evil than the devil. Rich people need nothing. Poor people already have nothing. And if you eat nothing, you will die. A lot of difficult, confusing questions really have a simple answer. When Jesus spoke to a group of confused people, he kept it simple. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father unless he comes through me. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Visit us on the web at ChristianLifeColumbia.com to learn more. And remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to CLColumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is South Carolina DQ Smith. You listen to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen.
So anything you need, rain gauges and deer whistles, Jen's here for you. Preston's here on incredible football discussion.
Bill Gunter.
And I can help you with coffee and donuts.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
We've got a quality group here that knows how to cover all the bases.
107.5.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
The Game.
Final hour of the Monday morning edition of the early game. Final Monday without a South Carolina football game to break down. Of course, we'll have the bye week, but final Monday before we really are fully immersed in college football. Next Monday, we'll be here again. Reminder, Labor Day, even if you're not working, wake up with us bright and early, 6 to 9. Jamie Bradford will join us, and we will be analyzing, breaking down, re-breaking down, overanalyzing, fretting, worrying, over celebrating, whatever it is. We'll overdo it. We'll just overdo it because we'll just be football giddy. We will have stayed up late on Sunday night watching Florida State and LSU, which is going to be a really great one on Sunday night. The weekend itself, not the best opening weekend I've seen. The Saturday, look, I love college football. I'll have the 3 TV setup going, Preston. I'll be ready to go and fully involved, but it's not exactly the best opening Saturday I've seen in a long time. I said it, to toot my own horn, to pat myself on the back.
As you frequently do.
I constantly said, you look at the schedule, South Carolina and North Carolina appears to be the best shot for game day.
You did have this one called in the spring. I wish we could have that one called up, but you did have this one called in early in the spring. You did.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not. There's games that I'll be. Look, I know it's a 20-point spread. I know that a lot of people are predicting a massive blowout, but I'll start the day with Colorado TCU to see Shedeur Sanders, to see Coach Prime. They go into the national championship runner-up in TCU. That'll be noon on Fox. I'll count me in to at least watch a half of that.
Will he wear the cowboy hat? Yes or no?
He's back in Texas.
Yes or no?
Oh, yeah, I'm saying yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
cowboy hat, yes.
Yeah, he's going to make us might be off by halftime. Might have been blown off by TCU and Chandler Morris, but we'll see. Virginia and Tennessee at noon. Joe Milton, who made his debut, really against Clemson there in the Orange Bowl, ABC at noon. That one again is another 3-touchdown football game. It's hard to like say, oh man, yeah, Virginia and Tennessee. Tony Elliott there trying to get things straightened out in Charlottesville, and
obviously difficult circumstances last year for sure. But yeah, he's trying to get it right.
So you'll have that one going as well, and then you kind of look at the rest of the noon. I mean, East Carolina at Michigan. But you got to find Peacock. I got Peacock. I use Peacock more for the Premier League, but I mean your ESPN game, the game that follows game day, Arkansas State. If you want to watch Corey Rutger, transfer portal
Tuesday.
That's right. We might have a transfer portal Monday because we only got one to follow, and we'll let you get to Marshawn Lloyd in the next segment. We'll combine, or we'll have Thorns, Buds, and Roses, and then transition into transfer portal Monday. But your game that follows College Game Day is Arkansas State at Oklahoma. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. How does the SEC network suit you? Ball State and Kentucky.
Shout out to Ball State.
I feel like if you're looking for a nap, that's the game you explain. Like, what's my nap game? Ball State and Kentucky. Got it. Yes.
Well, I mean, Kentucky versus anybody is probably a nap game. And so just throw Ball State in the mix, and you've got a good recipe for that.
If you're a Clemson fan, maybe you want to see a potential future conference opponent. ESPNU will have Louisiana Tech at SMU. Future ACC member, SMU at noon.
I don't know.
That's kind of your noon game. Your 3:30.
Has there been any intel on the new game day song? Have we been able to dig up any information on this?
The most I've gotten is what you have provided, that it could be Post Malone.
See, that's what I'm saying. I heard it was Posty, but I think that was the college anthem. I don't know if that was the game day song. So
okay.
Conflicting reports.
I feel like it's going to end up being Imagine Dragons because somehow, some way, they became the official voice of college football.
That is true.
Like ABC and ESPN, I feel like there's one person in there who's just got Imagine Dragons stuff all over their basement wall in their mom's house. And it's just like every time someone's like, we need a new song. And this guy's like, I got the perfect Imagine Dragons song.
Whatever it takes.
Have you ever heard I'll have to get to it later, but our special guest speaker on Imagine Dragons?
I know.
Oh, we'll have to. I don't know if we still have it. It might have gotten deleted. It might have been. I have to remember this now that we went to play it one time and Jen couldn't find it. But we'll have to see if we can locate our special guest singer on Imagine Dragons. But no, that's your 12 noon slate for Saturday. 3:30. Again, look, it's college football. I'm completely in. I'll over immerse myself if this tropical storm doesn't come through and rain the whole day out. But at 3 and 3:30, Ohio State, we get to see this quarterback battle against Indiana on the road.
Is the Ohio State quarterback still wearing number 33?
He is looking like he's going to. Kyle McCord looks like he's going to be beat out.
Oh,
he looks like he's going to be beat out.
He deserves it.
That's on CBS, by the way. So you're going to get the CBS anthem with a Big Ten game. Trying to adjust accordingly to that. 3:30 on ABC. Maybe an interesting one. Maybe. Boise State at Washington.
Bluefield?
No, Boise State's at Washington.
Oh.
Unless they allow Boise State to bring their field, it's at Washington. No. Washington's my sleeper pick for the college football playoff. I like Michael Penix Jr. I really like Washington's coach and Kalen DeBoer. They're my sleeper. 3:30. Also, if you want to catch out Quinn Ewers, maybe we get an Arch Manning sighting. Rice at Texas on Fox. Again, fine. You don't like that one? How about I introduce you to Luke Fickell and his new Wisconsin team? How about FS1 at 3:30? Buffalo at Wisconsin? How does that strike your fancy?
I want to see jump around. I'll take it. Showed a lot of crowd shot, a lot of crowd work. I'll take it.
3:30 ESPN. This is the second ESPN game of the day. UMass is hot. Look out, world. Minutemen are on fire. They are led by Taysom.
Not sure why you did this to yourself.
Taysom. They're led by former Clemson and Georgia Tech quarterback.
That's a rough one.
Taysom from the North.
That's a rough one. Yeah, I don't know why you set yourself up for that one. That's a tough one.
UMass and Auburn. The Hugh Freeze offense gets going on Saturday. Auburn at 3:30. That's kind of your 3:30 slate. 4:00 you get SEC Network. Southeastern Louisiana at Mississippi State.
Here's the thing, though. Week 1, no games will be good. There'll be a lot of foolishness that'll happen. There'll be a lot of penalties. There'll be things unexpectedly, a lot of pre-snap penalties, things like that. So what I'm saying by that is some of these games that you don't think are going to be good, they might end up being actually very entertaining because everybody's trying to figure out what in the world is going on week 1. So you can't really bank on premier games between premier teams because there will be a lot of mistakes week 1.
If you're not going to Charlotte and you want to set up the multiple television tailgate in your house, 7 o'clock, New Mexico at Texas A&M on ESPN. Yeah.
No.
I mean, again, this would be second, third tier TV because most likely South Carolina is on your main TV. Again, that's 7 o'clock. You kind of scroll down to 7:30. West Virginia at Penn State on NBC. Maybe I've got that one on the smaller television off to the side. That one probably at least it's 2 brand name teams going. Neil Brown needs to have a good year for West Virginia, or else West Virginia could be in the coaching market.
He was hot name a couple years ago.
Wow. Obviously, South Carolina, North Carolina, 7:30, ABC. CBS, for some reason, has decided to pick up another game on Saturday night. Texas Tech and Wyoming.
No, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. Yeah. You go in. Alabama's on the SEC network. They'll host Middle Tennessee State. Well, finally, Nick Saban has to take the cake out of the oven. It's been, for whatever, this was his new thing this year, the baking of the cake that the grandmother did. And the grandmother always said, don't take the cake out of the oven until it's ready. You can stare at it. You can watch it. Don't take it out of the oven. Nick Saban will finally take some kind of cake out of the oven on Saturday night. He'll have to reveal a quarterback if he doesn't do it already. I think tomorrow is his press conference day. They get Middle Tennessee State, 7:30 SEC network.
Shout out to Coach Stop.
And I am efforting, because now we are on again in Myrtle Beach, 100.3 the game down there. I am efforting Danny Kelly, who has joined us before from the Post and Courier. I assume he still works. I sent him an email yesterday. 10:30 game. I will be tuned into this. Coastal Carolina at UCLA. Now, Coastal Carolina, new head coach. Tim Beck comes in, former offensive coordinator for North Carolina State. UCLA, Chip Kelly, final year in the Pac-12. They've got some good players. They were in a little bit of a quarterback competition. But there's your 10:30 ESPN game, kind of late night Pac-12 after dark. It's our final year for Pac-12 after dark.
I'll be on that one.
Coastal and UCLA. By the way, next year it'll be Big Ten after dark because one of the things they did, they've got these games scheduled to be in every time slot, noon, 3:30, 7:30, 10:30. So you aren't going to lose these kind of West Coast, Southern Cal, Oregon, Washington, UCLA 10:30 kickoffs.
But UCLA Coastal has all the makings of a great Pac-12 after dark.
It does.
It's an unexpected team. Chip Kelly, just enough intrigue for you to turn it on and see what's going on.
Grayson McCall still there. He's again another guy entering his 21st season of college football. Good to see him back as well.
Shout out to you.
803-404-6100 is how you can reach us this morning. Firehouse Subs text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. Up next, it'll be a special edition of the Transfer Portal Tuesday, but on a Monday, looking back at a quarterback that had a big weekend, Preston's take on a running back who did he or did he not have a big weekend, and it's Thorns, Buds, and Roses, Preston Thorns style. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Carolina Power Equipment, the Midlands Kubota Superstore, is proud to announce our association with Kai Kroger, University of South Carolina punter extraordinaire.
I am super happy to be here. Carolina Power Equipment is the place to come get yourself a Kai Boda.
Sorry, Kai, that's Kubota. You know, Kubota tractors and zero turns.
That's right. Carolina Power Equipment has the awesome Kai Boda tractors that can kick some serious dirt.
Yes, the Kubota L-Series tractors are some of the most dependable and popular tractors on the market.
Yep, and the Kai Boda zero turns can keep your lawn looking like game day every day. Guaranteed to stop and turn on a dime, just like my sweet kicks.
It's Kubota. Kubota.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in the heart of Casey. Or visit carolinapowerequipment.com.
Kubota. It's the only orange I'll ever love.
Just how does a car repair shop last in business for over 50 years like Suddeth Automotive? By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly specials. Isn't it time you became a customer? Give them a call or come by at 1410 North Millwood Avenue or make an appointment at SuddethAuto.com.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's a $7,500 sign-on bonus and increased pay for most security positions. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply now or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Can you imagine efficiency and productivity at an all-time high?
Everyone is happier.
And everything is cleaner.
You no longer have to think about all the junk that's in your way.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
You're incredibly good at what you do.
We're good at what we do, too.
Why not outsource the cleanup to us?
Put us in the game, Coach. Put us in the game.
We're industrial strength magicians.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock football.
5 days till kickoff.
While others take full advantage of the market with ridiculous add-on stickers, Love never sells above MSRP. Come experience the difference at Love Chevy, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
For whatever you may want in most any kind of sport, Todd and More is where it begins.
Hey, this is Terry Ford for Todd and More. You know, Todd and More has been your hometown sports store since 1944. That's right. The Midlands has depended on Todd and More for all kinds of sporting goods, equipment, apparel, and accessories for 79 years. They have what you want at the best price and the best selection. Above all, Todd and More has a team of experts in every department, featuring 500 styles of brand name athletic shoes for men, women, and children. Let Todd and More be your store for equipment, apparel, shoes, and accessories. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday at 620 Hugie Street near Blossom, just below the Coliseum. On-campus shopping is so convenient. Nobody beats Todd and More.
Equipment for your sport, from the diamond to the court, Todd and More is where it begins. If you can swing it, throw it, hit it, bounce it, bring it, roll it, kick it, pop it.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting, like basketball analyst Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join the V Foundation team. 100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now at V.org.
Alrighty, everyone, a good Monday to you. It's time for your First Alert traffic update. It has been a relatively calm traffic flow around the region this morning. Overall, going to be seeing our heavily traveled roadways and interstates still getting backed up in a little bit of our spots. But, you know, it's Monday. It's a new school day, new work week. Just need to be mindful of people making that weekend transition. But still, no major backups to report on or bad confirmed collisions this morning. We'll make sure to keep you updated if anything major changes. Thanks again for listening. This has been a WIS First Alert Traffic Check. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. Make it a safe travel day.
So this is technically that 10 seconds of delay that it's been built in. So after this, you don't have any delays.
And Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8:18 on a Monday morning, August the 28th. it popped up in some memories that I have on social media, but 9 years ago today was not a good day for South Carolina. If you remember what that day was, as I was starting the show, I looked at something on social media 9 years ago today. Kenny Hill rolled in with Texas A&M, and anyway, more positive thoughts.
Yes.
More positive. Let's move on to more positive thoughts. Couple things to throw at you real quick before we get to Thorns, Buds, and Roses. David, my good buddy David Wade, he sent me, this is off of Google. It says College Game Day new song. It says earlier in August, ESPN revealed its musical anthem for 2023, Something Real by Post Malone.
See? Yes.
Then it asks a question. This is on Yahoo. Who do you think should do the new opening to ESPN's College Game Day, or should ESPN just tap back into the roots of the program with a more classic approach?
This is a tough decision. Whoever's at ESPN and making this decision, a lot is riding on this, because I will be tuned and locked in for this decision. You can't go too trendy. Don't try and go with what the kids want. This is a tough decision, man. I don't know where you go with this.
Yeah. So you've got that going there.
But you can't go too old. I don't know.
Big decision. So Something Real by Post Malone will be that we will just that ESPN and ABC will inundate you with. You will be sick of Post Malone by the third week in September. You'll be sick of that song. It'll just come on every time there's a commercial. It might not be Walker Hayes Fancy. Remember
that got
Applebee?
tiring.
I feel bad for Walker Hayes because he has. The more I've heard him, he's got like good music, like decent music. It's catchy. It's kind
but
of,
Applebee's blew it for him.
Oh, Applebee's smoked that thing out of the water the first week, and just everybody hated Walker Hayes and Fancy, and I felt bad for him.
That's tough because you know he's like, man, this check, but I don't know if that check is worth it. Because now you're known as that guy. You're known as the Applebee's guy.
He's trying to bounce back. That would have been a thorn to me. Instead, you do it. Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Here's Preston Thorn.
It's time for Thorns, Buds, and Roses with Preston Thorn on the early game. 107.5 The Game.
All right, Bill. All right, my folks in Myrtle Beach and Florence. Welcome into Thorns, Buds, and Roses. Every week I give you a little preview into what happened over the weekend. And Bill, we're going to start it off with this one this week. Self-imposed punishments.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan was early to the game. Arizona State said, hold on a second, hold my beer. We're going to punish ourselves and excuse ourselves from a bowl this year. Bill, would you happen to know what the over-under for wins losses is for Arizona State this year?
You know what? I didn't. The article I've got and the stuff that I've got here in front of me that would talk about this, I didn't think to look at wins losses. Now they've got the other quarterback from Notre Dame that transferred in, and all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank on his name. And they've got Jaden Rashada, the 5-star freshman, in.
Correct.
I would have said, if you off the cuff, not knowing the schedule completely, 5.5.
4.5, Bill.
Okay, so
do you know how many games it takes for you to go to a bowl?
6.
Yeah. So they were expected to win 4.5, and they said, you know what? We're not going to go to a bowl this year, so we're going to excuse ourselves from a bowl and punish ourselves. But that's not the real thorn. The real thorn is when I look on my TV screen and I see Herm Edwards on ESPN, and he just gets to run his mouth as if he didn't just put a team on probation. Bill, I can't stand it. I used to like Herm. His approval rating is quickly dropping in my opinion.
This is a crazy situation because you have Tennessee who faced very similar type of, not allegations, different allegations, but level 1 violations. Very similar to Arizona State. Tennessee escaped now granted, Tennessee expected to go to a bowl, escaped a postseason ban, but was punished $8 million, fined $8 million, which was about the equivalent of what you earn off of a bowl game. Tennessee gets out of this thing, and there's a lot of people who said, oh, if Tennessee just took an $8 million fine, essentially, again, giving up the money you will make at the bowl game, people said, well, the NCAA, they've gone away with this antiquated idea of taking you out of bowl games. Okay, fine. No more bowl bans ever again. Only for Arizona State to go, we'll do it. Keep it alive.
We'll take the bowl ban that we were never going into. And yeah, Herm, get off my TV screen, man.
By the way,
you just put a team on probation.
By the way, to that point, there's 50 players on that team that were not recruited by Herm Edwards. 50 people that were not associated with that.
And Herm gets to talk about integrity and character and all that. Herm, chill out. Go relax. Buds, it's finally here. The most wonderful time of the year. We made it. College football season is here. Get ready to laugh, cry, scream, yell, sulk, eat, drink more than you're supposed to, pace, fidget, pray, hope, worry, analyze, breakdown, overanalyze. For the next 12-ish weeks, we're all going to be on this roller coaster, and hopefully we all make it to the end of it. But we're here for it. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait. We are here as the early game, as your therapy. If you want to vent, we are here for all of that. So lucky you.
9 years ago today, South Carolina, Texas A&M, I went through all those emotions in one game. Everything you just did, everything you just read in a 4-hour period in one game, I accomplished all of them. Every single one.
Oh, man. Whew, that was a rough one. Yeah, man, college football's here. We love it. And last but not least, Bill, I need 47 roses.
47.
47 roses.
What do you got?
I need 47 roses for King Ford.
Oh, yeah.
King Ford, one of my students.
Oh.
He's
cool.
one of my last ones that is in the game. King has become the third South Carolina football player to receive the Jake Panis Scholarship, which is named after a young man who tragically passed away, and his father, Stephen Panis, granted this scholarship to a player on the team who was the Special Teams player. This is the third person to receive this award for the third year. And I can say without a doubt that King is 100% deserving. He's an exemplary young man. He's been a walk-on. And, you know, we love those videos when you get the chance to see the walk-on awarded the scholarship. And to my surprise, it was King, a kid that I taught many moons ago. So I'm really glad to see him. Again, it's always awesome to see the walk-ons rewarded for the effort. I don't think we realize how hard they work. And I always knew it when I was playing because I was on scholarship. And I'm like, why are you here? Because this is really hard. I don't know what you're doing here. I know why I'm here. So shout out to all the walk-ons and shout out to King for receiving that scholarship. And shout out to the Pennis family for providing that.
And did you see that King Ford that was on NBC?
Yeah, I saw that.
Was it on NBC?
Nightly news.
Oh, even cooler.
They have a segment that's called "There's Good News Tonight," and it showed him getting the news that he got it and calling his dad. Yeah, it was awesome.
I didn't see that. And then, man, imagine being a parent who's like, "You're on scholarship? You mean what?"
Right?
Woo! I know some funds got freed up, man. Everybody's so excited about that, man. So shout out to the Ford family. Everybody, what a amazing accomplishment, and that's really cool. Those are thorns, buds, and roses, Bill.
Yeah, that Arizona State thing, man. I didn't think about the over-under on win total. I didn't think to look at that. 4.5.
You think the AD looked at it and was like, we'll take it.
Well, there's a lot in this story here that I don't want to say is suspect. I mean, the whole Herm Edwards, if you haven't read it, like go to and look at what kind of transpired there with Herm Edwards, because man, he really went in and just blatantly disregarded pretty much any rule as it pertains, especially during COVID with how they went about doing things. But he just blatantly broke rules. And a lot of those kids, again, they've transferred out, they've left. Obviously, the new transfer rules allow you to kind of transfer and leave a program that's in a bad position. But it's even Kenny Dillingham is now going to likely get another year tacked on to his contract.
Just because this year.
Now, he said all the right things. But yeah, even Kenny Dillingham's getting another year. He's kind of like, all right, well, we'll get through this year. It is interesting because there's 20 players, call them whatever you want, super seniors, whatever the 20 players who are out of eligibility. And this will be their final year. And they were talking about like what these kids, to make this announcement now, when they're stuck. They can't enter the transfer portal, and now you're telling them, sorry, you're stuck here. No bowl for you, regardless of what you do. Because I get the Vegas thing 4.5. Kids don't look at that and go, oh, we're only supposed to win 4 or 5.
Right. That's not going to be part of their mindset. Obviously, they're going to go out there and try and win every game. Again, it's the adults in the situation, and I'm not even really joking. Herm should not be on TV being able to speak about anything involving athletics. You ran a program into the ground. We already questioned when he was hired as to what they were trying to do. And they said they were bringing in this new NFL model, and it didn't work. They weren't very successful. And for that being said, you don't deserve to be on TV espousing the virtues of character and integrity and all those things which you've built your brand on. You don't get a chance to do that anymore. And so that is a thorn in my side for sure, because there are plenty of other people who've done things the right way, and they don't get those opportunities.
And for the record, this is Arizona State's ruling. This is not the NCAA.
Right.
This is Arizona State making this decision. This isn't the NCAA doing it, but it's Arizona State. So Arizona State's doing it to their own football program. And certainly here's the other part about it is the athletic director who hired Herm Edwards was Herm agent. There's a lot here, man. There's a lot in this story that is wrong for the kids, that is wrong for the coaches. You just mentioned it. Like, this is, there is a lot.
20 seconds.
Completely wrong. We'll come back. We'll get into that. And it's Transfer Portal Monday.
Transfer Portal Tuesday on a Monday.
You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Tigers and Gamecocks fans, the lottery's newest games are for you. Carolina and Clemson Jackpot Scratch-Offs are on sale now. Enter your tickets in the Second Chance promotion for a chance to win up to $100,000 live on field. See SCEducationLottery.com for game odds and details.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Pioneer Tree Service has more than 4 decades of helping homeowners maintain and manage trees on their property. Their skilled crew offers customized solutions that match your needs and budget. Tree trimming and tree removal can be dangerous. You need to trust the people that are doing the job. Before attempting to remove limbs, call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote. They remove limbs safely and make sure that future growth is directed away from potential trouble areas such as roof lines and driveways. Cutting down trees takes more than a chainsaw. Even branches can weigh thousands of pounds, and their removal must be handled with care. Pioneer Tree Service offers a full complement of state-of-the-art heavy equipment, from track hose to bucket trucks to safely remove trees and stumps from your property. And no matter where you live, the Gantt girls can get there. And I want you to call them at 803-794-8253.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Can you imagine efficiency and productivity at an all-time high?
Everyone is happier.
And everything is cleaner.
You no longer have to think about all the junk that's in your way.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
You're incredibly good at what you do.
We're good at what we do, too.
Why not outsource the cleanup to us?
Put us in the game, Coach. Put us in the game.
We're industrial strength magicians.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
It's the Love Chevrolet countdown to Gamecock football.
5 days till kickoff.
While others take full advantage of the market with ridiculous add-on stickers, Love never sells above MSRP. Come experience the difference at Love Chevy, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
I am here with the new sponsor of 107.5 The Game, Jason Shannon with the Cook and Boardman Group. the nation's leading supplier and largest inventory of architectural and commercial doors, frames, and door hardware. Jason, I know you have some exciting news to share.
Thanks, Bill. And we are very excited to announce the opening of our new storefront right here in the Midlands. We now have a full-service counter open Monday through Friday starting at 7 a.m. We are located at 101 Corporate Boulevard in West Columbia, which is just off of Chris Drive behind Man Tool and Supply. Our experienced team is ready to help you with a selection of high-quality, competitively priced commercial wood and metal doors and hardware, commercial welded and knockdown metal frames, fire-rated doors, access control systems, lock sets, and more. For more information, call us at 803-739-0642. That's 803-739-0642.
The early game show will be broadcasting live from Cook and Boardman for their open house event on Tuesday, September 12th. Come see us and meet the Cook and Boardman team. There'll be free food, giveaways, and door prizes. That's Tuesday, September 12th, starting at 7 a.m. See you there.
If we continue to consume our natural resources at the rate we do now, by 2050, it could take 3 Earths to meet our needs. The Earth can't speak up when it needs help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
This is Todd Ellis, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, WNKT, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey everyone, thank you for continuing to listen along this morning. It's time for a WIS First Alert traffic update. A singular accident being reported here, I-20 westbound, a stalled vehicle at exit 68. So more of an incident, but either way, still causing a lane problem, causing backups because of where the car stalled out, still needing to get moved off the road. That's I-20 westbound, a stalled vehicle at exit 68, causing some slowdowns there. So as that continues to, of course, get moved along, that will, of course, open up a bit more. Otherwise, around the region, your typical traffic flows for a busy Monday. Thanks again for listening. This has been a WIS First Alert traffic check. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. Make it a safe travel day.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Welcome in. So, welcome into the group in Florence, 100.5 The Game. Hope you're doing well this morning. Welcome into Myrtle Beach, 100.3 The Game, as we get you up and get you going bright and early each and every morning. Preston Thorne, former Gamecock defensive lineman in the Lou Holtz era, myself, Bill Gunner, and Jen Jensen. Again, if you haven't heard
Your favorite.
That's Jen right there. You heard her.
I haven't gotten to hardly say anything. It's been so kind of crazy busy in here. A lot of technical things going on this morning. I haven't even gotten on the live stream because nobody wants to see the faces we're making in here. And our engineer has been in here, our program director. So it's been a little nutty.
All hands on deck.
It is.
But we're
true.
excited.
Jen has
This is
not been
great.
able to prop up her feet and eat her oatmeal this
Yeah,
morning.
that's what I do every morning. I'm just sitting here, just, taking in. I've actually asked them to change the lights in the studio to maybe like tanning lights, because I just sit here and do nothing. I could tan. And
It's a good point.
Yeah.
She has put that request in the box for
Mhm.
36 consecutive months, and it has not been rewarded yet. But yeah, if you're in Florence, 100.5, Myrtle Beach, 100.3, we welcome you in. You can, anything you ever hear here on the game, you can text in 803-404-6100. Again, that's 803-404-6100. You can call in as well, as we will wake you up bright and early each and every morning. Got a busy week for you here, obviously, as we count down to the start of the college football season. Today, we had Jamie Bradford. Tomorrow, J.C. Sherbert from the BigSpur.com will join us. Wednesday, we'll have Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com, not Brian Edwards, former Gamecock football player. Thursday, we will have David Waters on. Thursday night, you get Florida and Utah. That's a huge game for Billy Napier. I mean, that is a massive game, I think, for Billy Napier. Thursday we'll have David Waters on from GatorBreakdown.com. Thursday we'll also do our high school highlights segment. Chris Deering will join us, and then Friday we will be at Darlington Raceway. We'll have an interview with Kyle Larson that Jen is overly excited about. Kerry Tharp will join us in his final lap, if you will, in Darlington. He'll be retiring at the end of the year, but Friday we'll be down there getting you ready for the race this coming weekend. So we got a busy week along the way, maybe another guest or two. Real quick, two things I want to go back to because this got brought up on our live stream by York. Obviously, things not going the way South Carolina State wanted on Saturday night. And Jason Brown, we'll get to it. You got your transfer portal Tuesday stuff there. But one thing to go back to, and York brought this up and said, do you think the retirement announcement had an effect on South Carolina State? It is an honest question, but then again, Jackson State looked pretty good and South Carolina State just struggled.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. I can say I have been a part of one of those announcements. When Coach Holtz did make an early retirement, and or he made an early announcement for his retirement, and it did
he
affect.
Basically made an early retirement. I don't know what he was really invested in that week.
Touche. Good point. And it does sort of affect the team, but that was late in the season, and that season was sort of going off the rails. I don't think this affected this team. I think Jackson State just went out there and beat them up, played a more physical brand of ball than South Carolina State did that night, and that's what South Carolina State intends to do for the rest of the year. But as Coach Pugh said in one of his interviews, you don't get a chance to find out what you have until you play the first game. And so now they know what they have. Sure, they'll be back to the drawing boards and they'll be back ready to go.
I real quick, I just want to go back to this Arizona State thing, because if you really read it, what Arizona State has done to itself is pretty egregious. I mean, it really, it's one thing if the NCAA does it and we all get mad and we go to the NCAA. Well, in this article, there's a good article on SI.com from Pat Forday, and it mentions Arizona State's self-imposed bowl ban that they just gave themselves this weekend comes 44 days after the NCAA Committee on Infractions openly declared it no longer wants to take away postseason competition from schools that break rules, even blatantly and in bulk. And this is straight out of the article. It talks about the Committee of Infractions hit Tennessee with, and it says in this article, $9 million in fines and hammered the involved coaches in a case it declared one of the worst the Committee of Infractions has seen, but it refused to invoke a bowl ban despite it being prescribed within. It's in the NCAA bylaws for the level of violations that Tennessee committed, and Arizona State's is every bit as bad. What they did, what Herm Edwards did, is every bit as bad as what Arizona State did, and yet Arizona State's going, no bowl ban. We'll just take you out of a bowl game.
Yeah, I would like to know what the inner workings of that, because that doesn't feel right to me. And I didn't even think about it from that aspect of, you have these 20 seniors who, with the thanks to the transfer portal, many of them may have had an opportunity to go somewhere else. Now they know that the opportunity to play in a bowl has been taken away by their organization. Kenny Dillingham has a rough start ahead of him. He's going to have to work overtime to keep that team together, because if that thing starts going off the rails, what's the point of us even being here? Football is not a game that you can be halfway in.
It's also interesting. It mentions what he said. The Sun Devils got far enough into practice to figure out they're not going to be very good, so they might as well take the ban for what could well turn out to be a losing season. I didn't know this until I read the article. There's a name for this strategy. It involves an SEC team, one that's always hovering around what's legal and what's not. You want to guess what this strategy is called?
I have no idea.
The Auburn strategy.
Okay.
The school self-imposed a ban on Auburn. Self-imposed a ban on its men's basketball team just before the start of the 2020 and 2021 season. Their record that year, 13-14.
Right on a cue.
But yeah, I mean, this is it's.
Imagine what that's telling you as a player. As a player, it's like, we looked around. This is going to be a good year for us to take a bowl ban. Good luck. Go get them. Go get them, Sun Devils.
And again, the person who really created all of this, the athletic director, who was the one-time agent for Herm Edwards, who he hired, still the athletic director.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he was tied into the big talent agency, CAA, which is how Herm gets back on ESPN. I wouldn't be surprised if it was all tied up. And again, Herm being on TV, just go keep your money, go somewhere. You don't get a chance to talk on TV anymore.
On Tuesdays, we're going to have little updates on the transfer portal and guys who are performing out there. Not so much to keep you, to bring up bad memories, but it is interesting now with the transfer portal era.
It's just something I've always wondered, because when these players you get familiar with their names, and then they leave, and you're like, what happened to them? Where are they doing? I remember I was always watching Florida State, and I was seeing Jam Robinson, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember he was playing here. Some guys, you're like, man, I wish they were still here. Some guys, you're like, that's fine the other way. But transfer portal Tuesday on a Monday. Jason Brown, yesterday, he was on Saturday, 26 of 33, 61, 3 touchdowns. And Marshawn Lloyd, which he had 9 carries for 42 yards. What I'm interested in is, when were these carries in the scheme of the game? Because when I saw the highlights of the game that I was following sort of through Twitter or whatever, they weren't at the beginning. I didn't see him getting a lot of plays in the beginning of the game. So I wonder where the sort of scope was that.
We'll get into that. We'll get into the Marshawn Lloyd thing a little bit. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the Monday morning edition of the early game. You're listening to Preston, Bill, Jen. Again, it is the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is former science with CBS Sports Minute. Earlier, I commented on today's impending New York City Council vote on Madison Square Garden's operating permit. Given the $8.8 billion combined value of the Knicks and Rangers, it's remarkable that the Garden pays 0 taxes. I suspect owner Jim Dolan also believes he could snooker or extort the city into building him a spectacular new garden within 10 years. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This year's Carolina and Clemson Jackpot $5 scratch-off tickets give you a chance to win up to $200,000, whether you're a Gamecock or a Tiger. Plus, you can enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion for a chance to step on the field or the court to win $50,000, $75,000, or even $100,000. In this state, winning the Palmetto Series does matter that much. So get your tickets today. See SCEducationLottery.com for odds and details. Winning and non-winning tickets can be entered. Second chance odds depend on number of entries received.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either a Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
Chicken
a Frosty.
Sandwich,
Dave's Single and a Frosty for me.
and a Frosty. Okay, who said Frosty and a Frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's, valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Wrapping up a Monday morning here on the early game. We'll get you ready. Tyler Head, Colin Taylor due up next here. You can hear them again right here in Columbia. Y'all have been listening to us for a while, but if you're in Florence and Myrtle Beach, 100.5 in Florence, The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. You can hear Tyler Head and Colin Taylor coming up next. We'll have a busy day for you as we get you ready. College football season is officially here. Some games this weekend. One of them we were just talking about was Southern Cal. I think if it's like Jaheim Bell, yeah, I'll if Florida State's playing, I'll check in with him. I'll kind of keep up because of the situation with and Jordan Birch and Gilbert Edmond as well. I'm not as like fully invested in those transfers, but because of where we stand now with the running back situation, and you're getting that fall camp stuff. You're getting that fall camp stuff where hey. Kerryon Joyner looks great. Running game's going to look good. I was for whatever reason this past weekend as I was driving up and down I-20 going to Augusta for a soccer tournament, we got into, and I hope he doesn't live around here because I'm not taking a shot at him, but we got into the legend of Tommy Beecher.
Okay.
And as I was explaining to my son, I can't remember how we ended up on Tommy Beecher, but I was explaining back then when I worked for thebigspur.com, there was this guy. We could write an old folksy song about it. There was this guy named Tommy Beecher who during preseason practice was deemed the best quarterback Steve Spurrier may ever had. And it was going to be a fairy tale story. He had no offers, and yet he came in and he threw a beautiful ball, and he was incredible. And his football IQ was beyond understanding. He understood everything. And then the first half of North Carolina State happened where he got confused on uniform color and threw it to the opposition 4 straight times to start the Chris Smelly era. But but that fall camp, you can blame me. I was working for the Big Spur, so I was putting stuff on message boards and writing articles. We all thought Tommy Beecher was the answer, and this was going to be another Spurrier quarterback that just wasn't supposed to be anything that turned into something phenomenal. Fast forward to 2023. Now we've seen Kerryon Joyner for multiple years. We've seen him beat, number 3 Georgia. I mean, he played the second half. He was a huge part of that. We don't give him enough credit for probably what he did in that game. We've seen him win a Duke's Mayo Bowl with an incredible passing performance. So we've seen him do stuff. Still, what does he look like as a running back? Preston is going to be the $1 million question.
And I just have my shoulders up in the air and say, I don't know. We can see. We can hope. This is what you never want to do. You don't want to underestimate the value of having a really talented running back. And sometimes just because we really like to carry on, we really seen them perform at other places, we just assume that those skills are completely transferable. They might be, but if they aren't, I would not be. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes either way.
Well, and so that's to that point. That's why I am keeping a slight eye on Marshawn Lloyd, because if Lloyd's here, I think we're having different conversations about the offense this year. Say what you want. I don't like how the transfer went down. If you've kind of listened to some between the lines comments from Shane Beamer in the last few months when this situation is brought up, you can tell he is not overly thrilled.
I don't think this was a amicable pardon.
Yes, I've got a feeling that this was. That probably is a wild understatement. Look, last year, Marshawn Lloyd's halfway through the year when they're giving him the ball, he gets close to being on pace for a 1,000-yard season. I don't know if people realize that. Like it was a point he ended up with 573 yards, but he missed the Florida game, he missed the Tennessee game, the Missouri game when he got hurt. When he got hurt, he had 7 carries for 30 yards. He was having a decent game there against Missouri, and then takes the thigh bruise and only had 7 carries. After the Texas A&M game, 7 games in, he was kind of rolling along. After the Texas A&M game, he only had 47 more yards the rest of the season. Or excuse me, after the Texas A&M, 30 yards against Missouri, 17 against Clemson. I don't know if you'd say he was a proven SEC back, but 110 yards against Kentucky, 92 against Texas A&M, most of those in the second half. That's why I'm interested to follow him.
When that offense was struggling last year, whether it was the offensive coordinator and calling plays or whether it was Spencer and making throws, they were able to give the ball to Marshawn to keep that team afloat. Will that need to be an option this year? I don't know.
It's going to have to be.
But you will have to run the ball in the SEC. We know that. We know what this league is about. So you will have to be able to do that. And so it would be interesting to see whether or not that happens. And I think the thing with Marshawn was that, he was so highly touted coming in, then he had the injury, and then he came back. So we were emotionally invested into what this looks like. And I'm probably going to watch that to see how that ends up playing out and hope the best for him. You would like for the best for him to have been in a Gamecock uniform, but that's not here nor there. From a football perspective, the running game is very, very important.
It is. And I think much like Wake Forest may watch Sam Hartman this year and wonder what Wake Forest will be. There's going to be a level of keeping a kind of an eye on Marshawn Lloyd. 9 carries. He led Southern Cal on Saturday night in carries, 42 yards. Austin Jones came in and had 6 carries for 54 yards. Austin Jones also had a long of 37 yards. Marshawn Lloyd had a long of 16 on Saturday night. He did play a good bit in the first half to answer your questions. A lot of that came in the first half when Southern Cal actually was struggling because people don't realize that game moseyed along for a little while there at 14-7 before basically Southern Cal took over with I don't know. They do some freak plays. There's one we had audio. We didn't play it today of Caleb Williams fumbling a snap, throwing it in the air, scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, and I think they tried to make a bigger deal on that because he's the Heisman, but he just picked that ball up and threw it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a whole other thing. I was watching something this weekend breaking down certain quarterbacks, and this was the perfect throw. It was breaking down Caleb Williams and how he was rolling out and like just throwing passes. And like he saw this guy here, and he made a perfect pass. I'm like, he threw it down the field.
Yeah, I think he just threw it up.
Welcome to Florence. Welcome to Myrtle Beach. Both of those great stations. We're proud to have you on 100.5 in Florence, 100.3 in Myrtle Beach. We look forward to a fantastic football season. Monday for us is down. Tuesday, we'll have JC Sherbert roll on. Y'all have a great day.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Ship.
It's after this that you'll hear a little bit of music. So you got about 10 seconds.
Chevrolet, the lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. Listen, there might have been some damage in the area yesterday from our storms. I know we had some trees down, and you might have had some glass damage. Absolute Glass is the people that you need to call. So if the glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come to you and give you a free quote for any job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures.
15.
All the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Sponsored by Molina Healthcare. Feel better with Molina Healthcare.
When it comes to your health, 2 experts are better than